at ABC Sports. He has thrown for more yardage and more touchdowns than any other active quarterback. He has won more Super Bowls than any other active quarterback. Today, Dan Marino attempts to move closer to the one thing that has eluded him, the Super Bowl title. Joe Montana already has 4 rings, but can he become the first to quarterback 2 different teams to Super Bowl championships? The Lions and Packers know each other all too well. Today's game will mark the 6th time these NFC Central rivals have played each other in the last 2 years. Last year, they met in the wild card game in a seesaw battle that came down to the final minute. That game, but today they will be without injured all-pro receiver Sterling Sharp on ABC's Wild Card Saturday. And welcome to a doubleheader on ABC's Wild Card Saturday. First from Green Bay, it's the Packers and Detroit Lions. Then at 4 o'clock Eastern Time, we switch to Joe Robbie Stadium, the AFC wildcard game between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Miami Dolphins. Welcome to our studios in New York. I'm John Saunders, joined today by Boomer Esiason, the quarterback for the New York Jets. Thanks for being with us.
My pleasure, John. Happy New Year. It's going to be a great New Year in 2 of these NFL cities after today's over.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you and to yours. The celebration will begin a little bit early today for some of these teams. Let's take a look at how they got to the playoffs and who is there exactly. In the NFC, the schedule breaks down like this. 4 of the 6 teams from the NFC Central, San Francisco and Dallas receiving the byes. NFC wildcard games begin today with Green Bay hosting Detroit, as we told you, right here on ABC. That's coming up at 12:30. Chicago travels to Minnesota tomorrow at 4. The AFC playoffs worked out like this. Pittsburgh and San Diego getting the byes. Miami, Cleveland, New England, and Kansas City rounding out the field. The AFC wildcard playoffs also start today. The Chiefs and the Dolphins right here on ABC at 4 o'clock. Tomorrow, it's the Patriots heading to Cleveland to take on the Browns. Divisional playoff action kicks off on January the 7th. Pittsburgh and San Francisco hosting games on the 8th. Dallas and San Diego are the hosts. Championship games are scheduled for the following week on January 15th. ABC will cover the Super Bowl. This is a reminder, played on January 29th. Pregame coverage beginning at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. As we mentioned, 2 games for you here today. We have 2 reports, beginning with Brent Musburger, who's standing by in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Brent.
John, Happy New Year to you and Boomer. As you can see in Lambeau Field, folks, it's a balmy Saturday afternoon here in Green Bay, Wisconsin. 30 degrees, no snow as was predicted. And welcome, everybody. I want to give you a story on the Green Bay Packers. I don't want to over-dramatize this. I don't want you to make too much out of it, but this did happen. Brett Favre did not practice with the Packers yesterday. About 4 years ago, Brett Favre was involved in a very serious automobile accident. He underwent major stomach surgery. Ever since then, unexpectedly, he will undergo pain in his stomach, intense pain. He believes that down the road he may have to undergo further surgery. As a result, he did not work out yesterday with the Packers. Feels better today. He's ready to go. He's the starting quarterback. Now, there was another major story unfolding in Green Bay earlier in the week. Sterling Sharp lost to the Packers for the playoffs, and perhaps, well, who knows? Let's go down as we welcome the newest member of the ABC Sports family, Leslie Visser, to our team. Leslie, Happy New Year, and I know that you have seen Sterling earlier today.
I did. Thank you, Brent. I am thrilled to be here. Well, Brent, as you know, Sterling Sharp has been playing the best ball of his career, but now it may be the end of his career. I spoke with him a little while ago. He said he's going to solicit the opinions of 5 or 6 doctors before going forward. Well, the Packers surgeon, Dr. Patrick McKenzie, said this is not an emergency situation, but they would like him to get the operation to fuse the 2 bones in his neck, the vertebrae, within the next 2 or 3 weeks. I spoke yesterday with Green Bay Packer Hall of Famer Paul Hornung, and he told me he's been trying to reach Sterling Sharp because he said this is the exact same injury that forced him to retire from the NFL. Brent?
All right, Leslie, thank you. Game 2 on ABC is a dandy. Miami against Kansas City. Let's go to Frank Gifford now for a preview.
Thank you very much, Brent. And I don't care what anyone says. I really like that. Happy New Year to you and all of our staff, bringing you the 2 wild cards. And The second half of our matchup today is a great game. The Kansas City Chiefs take on the Miami Dolphins. They met only 3 weeks ago. Behind Dan Marino, the Miami Dolphins prevailed in that one 45-28. But make no mistake about it, Joe Montana did not play then. He's going to play today, and this game is the story of two quarterbacks. They first met 10 years ago in Super Bowl 19. It was Dan Marino's second season, while Joe Montana had already won a Super Bowl and an MVP award. Marino had some big numbers that day. Montana's were bigger. The 49ers won 38-16. Over the next 10 years, the two of us all to the NFL record book in furious style. Marino with his incredible arm and an offense designed by Don Shula. Joe Montana went on to win 2 more Super Bowls, and with his style and grace is one of the world's most admired athletes. Let's take a look at the numbers. They are truly remarkable. Between them, over 7,000 completions, more than 85,000 yards, and more than 600 touchdowns. But it's in postseason play, however, that Joe Montana with the great 49er teams has excelled, and Marino has come up short. So today, the Super Bowl quest will continue for both future Hall of Famers. Marino looking for his first, Montana his 5th Super Bowl title. Okay, let's go back to New York. John Saunders. John?
Okay, Frank, thanks a lot. And Boomer, you know exactly how Dan Marino feels. You've been there, you've been to a Super Bowl, but have not yet returned. What's it like, the sense of urgency?
Well, there's no question that he's frustrated. You know, last year at this time, they were worrying about his career, whether or not it would have been over. Now he finds himself 3 games away from the Super Bowl, playing against the nemesis for all us AFC quarterbacks, Joe Montana. He wants it very badly.
All right, Dan Marino trying to get back to the Super Bowl. Of course, there's another quarterback who's playing tomorrow who's looking to get to the Super Bowl for the first time. He's won 5 championships. They happen north of the border, trying to get one south of the border this time around. Talking, of course, about Warren Moon, the quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings. That and more, and Bill Parcells looks for another title for New England.
Wild Card Saturday pregame report. Brought to you by Interstate Batteries. We check them before you buy them for fresh, dependable power. And the makers of Advil in tablets or caplets.
Barry Sanders, the National Football League's rushing leader, fell short of 2,000, but 732 touches without fumbling to an opponent. His last fumble 2 years ago to Green Bay. Now the games tomorrow, 2 of them coming up in the wild card. We have 2 previews. First, let's join Peter King of Sports Illustrated.
John, the big story here is the injury status of 38-year-old Minnesota quarterback Warren Moon. 2 weeks ago, he suffered the first knee injury in a 17-year pro career. I asked Warren this morning if there's any chance he wouldn't play tomorrow.
I don't think so. I think the coaches have seen me practice, and they would make the decision, the final decision, whether I would play or not. But I think they've seen that I've thrown the ball, that I've looked pretty sharp, and they think that I can be effective. But Sean is there just in case, and he's had the other 30% of the snaps, so he's ready to go just in case I was either re-injure myself or wasn't effective early in the ball game.
2 more moonshots, John. The Vikings have been first-round playoff losers the last 2 years. They didn't bring Warren Moon here just to make the wild card round. And also, Moon frets about his place in football history. He's only a 3-6 lifetime playoff quarterback. For the Bears, it's another quarterback story. Steve Walsh has been ineffective the last 2 weeks. And Dave Wannstedt, their coach, told me this week he won't hesitate going with Eric Kramer if Walsh starts poorly tomorrow. That's it from Minneapolis. Let's go to Cleveland to my colleague Tim Brandt. Tim?
Peter, thank you. The weather is always a concern here in Cleveland this time of year, and tomorrow they are predicting windy, cold, with snow a possibility by kickoff. But Bill Parcells is not worried about that. He's more concerned with the mental preparation of his club. You know, this is the first playoff appearance for a lot of these guys, and that's something Parcells told me he's been working on for weeks.
I had a chance to talk to him about the hostile environments and how that good teams have to overcome that. And if you're ever going to be successful in this league, you've got to learn to win in those kind of places under all kinds of conditions.
This place will be rocking tomorrow. The dog pound will be hopping 80,000 strong. Ironically, New England's last loss was here November 6th. Drew Bledsoe threw 4 interceptions into a stiff wind. Banks shut down Ben Coates, but a lot has changed since then. Bledsoe has matured a lot, and the defense for New England has given up only 1 second-half touchdown in the last 7 weeks. Both coaches say turnovers will be a key. 2 evenly matched teams. They think it'll be down and dirty, straight ahead, no fair dodging, but home field advantage is huge, and that belongs to Cleveland. John?
All right, Tim, thanks a lot. Now, Boomer, Bill Parcells made the point and the decision early that he was not going to be able to run the ball. He was going to throw it up in the air. Bledsoe throws a lot, but just the same, his first playoff game.
Well, I don't really think that matters. As soon as they drafted Drew Bledsoe, they threw him right into the fire, and Coach Parcells has handled him beautifully. He threw for over 691 attempts this year, which broke an NFL record. This game is going to be no different than any other game that they've played the last 6 weeks. I'll look for them to try to throw the ball, but that weather condition up there obviously is going to play havoc with Drew's passes.
And the youngster will be airing it out. Now, he's a youngster. Brett Favre as well, but he's a quarterback playing as well as any in the National Football League right now. We'll take a look at the Green Bay Packers, new and old, when we return. Not frozen today in Green Bay, but Reggie White will be trying to freeze out Barry Sanders. Let's now join the newest member of our team, Leslie Visser.
Thanks, John. Well, it is one of the most beloved stories in the history of sports, the memories of the mythic Green Bay Packers and their Caesar of the sidelines, Vince Lombardi. And here in Green Bay, people still sit around kitchens and coffee shops and talk about the glory of that time.
Do you know how many people it takes to screw in a light bulb at Lambeau Field? It takes 4. 1 to do the work of screwing it in, and 3 to stand around and talk about how good the old one was.
Yeah.
That glorious tradition and the legacy of Vince Lombardi combined to bring the Packers their 11th and final title in 1967 and set the standard of play in the NFL. Exactly 27 years ago on this day was perhaps the most famous play in NFL history. On the coldest of winter days in a game called the Ice Bowl, Bart Starr followed Jerry Kramer into the end zone to beat the Dallas Cowboys.
You feel the tradition driving down Lombardi Avenue, and you think of Vince Lombardi and all the great players that played here. You go into the Packer Hall of Fame, you know, you feel the tradition. And I believe that if you win one here, that it'll be unlike anywhere in America.
When I was a kid growing up, you know, I wanted to be at the playground. I was Bart Starr because I was a quarterback, and I remember Horning, Taylor, and all the names. And so now to be here and to be part of this is really kind of surreal for me.
I think I did a book report when I was in the 6th grade on Paul Horning and Packer football. And once again, I had no idea where it was. But a little old southern boy from southern Mississippi knew who Paul Horning was, Bart Starr. But you asked me someone off of the New York Giants, I couldn't tell you anyone. I just knew of Packer football because of all the great things they have done.
It hasn't been easy to live under the glaring spotlight of 22 Packers who reside in the Hall of Fame. But 3 key figures have emerged to give this Packer team its best chance since the days of old. Coach Mike Holmgren is arguably the Packers' most successful coach since Lombardi. Reggie White, the NFL's all-time sack leader, brought excellence to the defense, and the emergence of Brett Favre helped turn around the offense. Favre, a barefoot boy from the Bayou, grew up in Kill, Mississippi, where he ran the option and never learned to read a defense properly. At Southern Mississippi, he improved, but mostly he relied on the raw firepower of his strong arm. And by the time he got to Green Bay, his weaknesses were obvious. He threw 24 interceptions last year. But by the middle of this year, Favre had become the most improved player in the league, a quarterback who could make a defense pay for a mistake.
The last 8 games, I've seen a different type of spark in his eyes. I don't know what happened. You know, I can't put my finger on it, but it's been a drastic change. Brett has been playing with the utmost confidence, and right now, I think as a team, we're riding his back.
Against Atlanta, Favre demonstrated his heart and mind. With time running out, he gambled on 3rd and 1 and scored the winning touchdown.
Down the sidelines, Favre, touchdown! He dived into the end zone, and the Packers score with 14 seconds to go. Unbelievable.
While it's much too soon to measure the present against the past, to measure Brett Favre against Bart Starr, Packer fans can see momentum. They've waited 27 years for this team, and finally, there are reasons to believe.
Favre says he would like to be part of the team that people talk about 20 and 30 years from now, but it will, of course, be hard to escape the tradition. If the Packers were to win the Super Bowl, after all, they'd be presented with the symbol of excellence, the Lombardi Trophy. John?
All right, Leslie, thanks a lot. Now, Boomer, as we know, no Sterling Sharp available for this game. He's possibly for his career. Coaches tell you, though, we coach systems, not players. What about the players?
Well, the players will tell you that they rely on one another. And I can tell you that right now in the Green Bay locker room, there's a great uneasiness on the part of Brett Favre because he knows his security blanket is not going to be on the football field with him. He has to rely on Morgan, the other receiver, to come in and make the big plays. And we'll see if that happens today. The only thing I can tell you is that Brett Favre has played probably about as well as any quarterback in football, including Steve Young, in the second half of the season. He deserved a Pro Bowl berth, which he did not get.
All right, he doesn't have Sterling Sharp. On the other side of the ball, they will have Herman Moore. How do the Packers stop him?
Well, so much has been talked about Barry Sanders and the frozen tundra up in Green Bay, but there's even a bigger, I think, asset for the Detroit Lions, and that is Herman Moore's height advantage over Terrell Buckley. If they single him up man-to-man, watch Dave Craig throw the ball up in the end zone and allow Herman Moore to use his height advantage against Terrell Buckley.
Yeah, the Lions, a dome team. Very happy to see that, as you mentioned, the Tundra is not frozen up in Green Bay. We're just moments away from kickoff. We'll get back for some final thoughts right after this. Stay with us. One animal in Green Bay suffered a very unfortunate fate. The rest of the Packers fans are hoping there's a similar fate ahead for the Detroit Lions as the Wild Card Saturday gets underway. Boomer, which teams do you like in these games coming up?
Well, I'll tell you what, there's so many questions surrounding the offense of the Packers due to the loss of Sterling Sharp. The fact that the weather is reasonable, and I think that Barry Sanders will be able to play very well today, I'm going to have to pick the Detroit Lions.
The Lions to win this one on the road. All right, we'll find out that one. We'll get your pick on the AFC game just a little bit later on, but we're just about set for kickoff. It's Wild Card Saturday. We will see you at halftime. Enjoy the games, everyone.
On Channel 7. Hi, this is Dick Clark, and we're here in Times Square, where in less than 12 hours we'll be kicking off 1995. But right now, it's time for a whole nother kind of kickoff. So, America, are you ready for some football?
1995 is 12 hours away, but already the party's underway in Green Bay. This playoff game is about tradition. Legends are made in Green Bay this time of year. No one has ever come to the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field and beaten the Packers in a playoff game. And 27 years after the Ice Bowl, the image of Vince Lombardi and Bart Starr is frozen in time. But there's a new torchbearer in Green Bay. His name, Brett Favre, and he plays quarterback like a linebacker. Favre was determined to ring out the old year at home.
We finally got what we wanted, and that's a playoff game at home. So with our fans here, our last opportunity until next year to win at home, we really got to take advantage of it. We feel like we're good enough now to make it to the Super Bowl, and if we don't make it, we'll be disappointed.
But Detroit is planning its own celebration. The Lions enter the NFL playoffs with one of the best running backs of all time. Number 20, Barry Sanders, plays a game of now you see me, now you don't. Ring in the new year with the Packers and the Lions. The road to the Super Bowl on ABC is underway.
Wild card fight. So get ready. I mean, get ready. Are you ready for some football? A big playoff party? Yeah, this is a little Hank, and I'm back, and I'm ready to get this thing started. You don't have much crashing. The crowd is tight. It's the NFL playoffs coming on. That's right.
And the party opens in Lambeau Field in Green Bay on a Saturday afternoon, a rematch of a wildly exciting playoff game a year ago, which was played in Pontiac and won by Green Bay 28-24 in the last minute. The weather so far is ideal. Well, Happy New Year, everybody. With Dick Vermeil, I'm Brent Musburger. Nice to have you along with us, Dick. I know that all the fans out there are well aware of the Sterling Sharp saga. They send along their best wishes to Sterling. They hope that that works out. On the football standpoint, how can the Packers replace a man who drives into a parking lot in a Porsche with go-to guy on the license plate? How do you replace that?
But what they're going to do, they're going to take their former starting split end, Robert Brooks, and move him to the flanker position. Now, he played that position all through training camp because Sterling was rehabbing an ankle injury. He played it well. Now, he's not a Sterling Sharp, but he's fast. He was a fine track man in college. He has his best year, 58 receptions. They have not changed the game plan in any way. The coaches have total confidence in him.
Now, on the other side, Barry Sanders, number 20. The weather is beautiful here today. How about Barry Sanders, though, outdoors off a carpet?
Well, I talked to Billy Matthews, Barry Sanders' running back coach, and he says it doesn't matter what surface Barry runs on, the defenders don't play on it as well as he does. He did tell me the story about 3 years ago coming in here and playing on a frozen field, 29 below zero. He runs for 135 yards, scores the winning touchdown with 5 minutes to go in the ballgame.
Now, the quarterback, Dave Craig. What about his situation?
Well, they say he plays with the enthusiasm of a rookie and with the great leadership and experience of the true veteran that he is. He has doubled the efficiency of the offense since he's taken over.
All right, Leslie Visser, how is Brett Favre feeling today? He missed practice yesterday.
Brett is not 100%. He told me a couple of minutes ago he's more like 80%. It's his lower right abdomen. He said it occurs this way about twice a year. It's extremely uncomfortable. As for the Lions, it's a big day for Dave Craig. He grew up 60 miles from here. He fell in love with pro football by watching the Ice Bowl. He said it's symbolic that he'd be here 27 years later. Brent?
Leslie, thank you very much. And there is a story set to return because Brooks is the go-to wide receiver. They will use Charles Jordan back along with Corey Harris. Harris with a lot of experience. Jordan, a remarkable story, who has battled his way into the National Football League, and we'll detail that for you as the afternoon unfolds. Set to begin, one of the rule changes that was extremely significant is the fact that Jason Hansen and all the kickers have to kick it off from their own 30-yard line. It has brought back the return, and this one now the ball will blow off the tee and they'll bring it back. But Dick Vermeil, it gives us an opportunity to talk about how the return is back on kickoffs in the NFL.
16 kickoff returns for touchdown this year. In the last 11 years, 9 was the most. The ratio went from 1 every 252 to 1 every 115. A dramatic change. They have shortened the field.
So for the time being, sort of everybody takes a deep breath and relaxes. They were all set for the explosion on the kickoff, and now they'll get all charged up again, and Hansen will bring it on. Underway in Lambeau Field, and they're going to make Jordan return it. Hit at the 24-yard line and down, where Brett Favre will go to work after that good tackle by Tracy Hayworth. So here is Favre. 33 touchdown passes this year. A remarkable turnaround. Look at that ratio. As Boomer said, he should be headed to Hawaii. Reggie Cobb and Edgar Bennett are going to be workhorses today. The Packers must control that clock since they are without Sterling Sharp. The offensive line, well, in addition, number 62, Guy McIntyre has played extremely well. Here's the first offensive play for Favre and the Packers. They'll throw with a short drop, complete, and they go to the tight end, Mark Chimura, on first down. Defensively, let's look at the Lions. They still use the 3-4. Mike Holmgren's passing game works awfully well against this defensive lineup. The 4 linebackers, and I want to tell you about a guy who's got as much desire as anyone in the history of this league. Number 54, Chris Spielman, a small linebacker with a huge heart. There's the defensive backs. They are going to be tested, especially Ryan McNeil today on that corner spot. Now they run Reggie Cobb, and I believe he is short of the first down with Robert Porcher making the stop.
Brent, Sherm Lewis, the offensive coordinator for Green Bay, said they wanted it game plan-wise to confuse them with formations and motion. The last time they played Detroit, they used 41 formations, different formations in 60-something snaps. They want to run the ball well enough to force them to respect the running game so they can throw that play-action pass, and then they want to go downfield. 90% of their passes have been 12 to 15 yards all year. They want to go downfield. There's Sherm Lewis right in the middle of your screen there with the glasses on. Excellent football coaching. Total control of this offense.
Now our officiating crew today, Gary Lane out here, and Mike Holmgren and the Packers staff ready to go here in Green Bay. There on the near side, opposite him, Wayne Fonts. This is his 6th year as coach, under fire, which is normal for a head coach of the Detroit Lions, we should point out, but he has his team back in the playoffs. It is 3rd and very short after the measurement now. Reggie Cobb offset to Favre's right.
They like the quarterback sneak when they spread out like this, Brent. They're not going to. They're going to
throw for it, and they've got it underneath, and that's the guy we expect to see, Robert Brooks, and they will line him up and use him in the Sterling Sharp position much of this game.
Mike Holmgren, the head football coach of Green Bay, has a big game card, and on there he always had a section that said Sterling Sharp, ways to get him the ball. The only difference now, he just changed the name on the top of that game plan card.
Now it's 1st and 10 for Favre and the Packers. The ball is at the Green Bay 37-yard line. Play fake is beautiful. Offensive line does its job, and he snaps off another one to this one to Anthony Morgan with Robert Massey with coverage. Let's talk about number 81 here, Dick. Anthony Morgan, where he's from, what they can get out of Anthony today.
Well, he came out of the University of Tennessee as a draft choice for Chicago. He played there a few years. He caught 27 balls. He was the number 5 pick. He's been with these people. Right now, he has a little calf muscle problem, and they have that concern.
Now, Massey, who made the stop, is shaken up, and he is down. You can see Morgan. Massey was a little soft. Favre zipped it into him, and while Massey's being tended to, we'll take a timeout.
Of another Monday Night Football 25th anniversary moment brought to you by Southwest Airlines. It's just plain smart to fly Southwest, the low-fare airline. In the highest-scoring game in Monday Night Football history, the Packers beat the Redskins 48-47 on Jan Stenerud's last-minute field goal.
21-yard attempt. Do they love it in Green Bay? They love it in Green Bay.
I think America is loving this one.
I sure am. Mack is the new cornerback for the Detroit Lions. He's been around. He's been in the league 8 years, but he's filling some big shoes right now of Robert Massey. And certainly the Lions defensive coaches hope to get Massey back in that lineup as soon as they can. 2nd down and 2 now for Favre and Green Bay. Opening series of the game. Now Edgar Bennett sweeping to the right. Gets turned and gets the 1st down before he's ridden out of bounds by Ryan McNeil. Sports exclusive coverage of the NFC wildcard playoff game brought to you by totally new Ford Contour, a world car for the 21st century. Bud Bowl 7. This year, it's going to be a whole new ball game. And Southwest Airlines. It's just plain smart to fly Southwest, the low-fare airline. 1st and 10, the Packers march into Detroit territory to the Lions' 47-yard line. Favre has been perfect so far. Packers elect to keep it in the air on 1st down, and he's still perfect, and Brooks beats McNeil for that catch. Beautiful grab by Brooks.
Very tight coverage by Ryan McNeil. Because Green Bay runs so many short patterns, defenders, I noticed on tape, Brent, tend to squat, meaning they get about 12 to 15 yards deep, and they don't go any deeper. Green Bay is going to have to challenge these people deep, either run by them or an out and up move, a double move, and I expect him to do it soon.
Fans who watched Detroit lose to Miami did not see much pressure on Dan Marino that night. 2nd and 2. The Lions now have to search for a big play from the defense. Reggie Cobb stood up in the middle. Robert Forshea, the defender there on the ground, number 91.
Herb Patera, the defensive coordinator for Detroit, said he can't afford to blitz or play much man against these guys because in the last ball game they got picked twice for touchdowns, and he didn't want to get that allow that to happen again. He says he won't play much tight coverage.
Dick, let me ask you this. Holmgren told us yesterday that this they're going to measure here, and while we got a moment, he told us yesterday this short passing game that Bill Walsh really took to the next level is very good against the 3-4 that Detroit uses. Why is that so? The fan would be curious as to why does Walsh's system work against the 3-4?
When they originally put the package together, when he took over the 49er situation, more teams were playing the 30 front, the 3 down linemen, 4 linebackers, and gradually the 4 down linemen. And this is why you get your whole pass protection scheme, your pattern scheme working on 4 linebackers, and that's why it's more effective.
First down after the measurement, Reggie Cobb sweeping to the left. Reggie Cobb has been in the eyes of Packer observers a disappointment this year. Now the Packers will tell you, the propagandists will tell you, well, he's only a 7 or an 8 yard runner. But they were looking for a lot more when they picked up Reggie Cobb. They were looking for a game breaker, and Packer fans know that the one thing this offense is going to need in the next couple of years is a running back to step in here, somebody who can bust a play. Edgar Bennett has become a sensational receiver, and if you were ever to use a screen pass and get him in the game, you might want to be thinking about it along about now. 2nd and 9 now. He's looking for Bennett, throws it, he's got it. Bennett's out of bounds inside the 30-yard line, showing you what he has always been able to do ever since his days with Bobby Bowden at Florida State.
Herb Patera went with a nickel defense. They went man-to-man that time, and that's why they were linebacker on back out of the backfield, singled up. Tight coverage. They get the ball off quickly, throw it to the outside here as you'll see the ball coming right at you. Good coverage position. They're just right there, but the perfect throw wide to the outside, and great hands demonstrated by Edgar Bennett. 78 catches coming into this ball game.
The one thing that Holmgren has taught Favre is how to throw with touch. 5 for 5, and he's become so much more effective with a short pass. Now he's looking at a 3rd and short. Favre now waits, gets the hit, gets it to Reggie Cobb. First down, Cobb inside to the 12-yard line. An impressive throw by Favre, who was under pressure that time, and Mack was on the corner, and it's an 18-yard game as Mack on the blitz got in on number 4.
They got the pressure on him, but the coverage by Greg Jeffries was not quite tight enough. Blitz coming after him. The S-State get the heat. Spielman's coming up inside. They pick it up nicely there. Outside, he gets a hit right there. The ball to the right side of your screen. One-on-one situation. Running back runs out of Jeffries' tackle. Now nobody else to pick up because they're all playing man-to-man, and Massey makes the play.
And Massey returned 2 plays ago, we are told, and now on first down, this is Edgar Bennett, slips the first man, and he has stood up there at about the 14-yard line, 2 or 3 yards on the game.
Excellent blocking there, Brent, by Eddie West. They ran outside a little while ago, and he blocked Broderick Thomas. He did it again. If your tight end can block the strong outside linebacker, you are going to run successfully. This is what I'm talking about right here. A linebacker cannot allow this to happen. This is the 2nd time it's happened. He's doing a real nice job of knocking him off the ball. That's Chimura, 6'89", not the most devastating blocker, but doing a good job there.
12th play of the opening drive coming.
Packers are very, very efficient in the red zone. 3rd best team in the NFL.
Favre incomplete. Ed West is the intended receiver in the end zone, and Favre.
Spielman will defensive football anyway. This time he didn't even see it. He just got his body in the way of it. Coming across, number 54. He picks him up to left side of your screen. Watch the ball hit him right in the back. He's defensing that man all the way. He doesn't see the ball hit him in the back. He doesn't care. He just wants to prevent the score. Boy, is he an intense guy. A wonderful guy to visit with if you want to talk football.
And now on 3rd down, Favre straight back, fires underneath, and Bennett to the 2-yard line.
See, that's what you can do now in pro football where you couldn't do before. Teams play more zone down here. That allows you to run that late check down out of the backfield in front of linebackers and then try to power into the end zone.
close enough for a measurement. They're going to bring the chains out. And Holmgren, when he was looking at his play chart, I don't think he's even considering the field goal if it comes up short here. Let's see what happens as the chains are coming out. Maybe the assistants upstairs have told him they've got it. And he was looking at what he wants to do on the first down. Oh, it is so close. Oh, is that close?
I think he'll go for it. Here comes in the big guys.
This is huge here. You wonder, would Vince Lombardi have put up a field goal right now, the first points? Dorsey Levens checks in with Bennett. He's their only other healthy running back. Number 25. Levens gets the call. Touchdown, Green Bay.
Big guy McIntyre, the offensive left guard, had the pulling assignment to pull out and kick out. You'll see him pop up in the middle of your screen, gets his pads down there, knocks the man outside, up inside for the touchdown. Ed, you're Bennett. No, that's Dorsey.
Levens is a rookie from Georgia Tech. He'll be utilized as their third running back here today as Chris Jackie pounds in the extra point. An impressive opening drive for Green Bay. 76 yards, 14 plays. When we come back, it'll be Detroit's turn. Able to return kickoffs. One of the more dangerous kick return men in the last decade in the National Football League. 9-year veteran out of Purdue. He'll try to give Barry Sanders and the Detroit offense some decent field position. And now let's see what Jackie can do with the kickoff. Can he take it deep? Gray, to give you an idea, in the NFL, they used to stand back by the goal line. He's out by the 10-yard line now, set to return this kickoff.
They game plan-wise, they want to kick it high and to the right and make him run for the football.
Which is exactly what they do. He tracks it down at the 8-yard line and comes back the other way. Gray looking for daylight, has got it. 30, 35, and out of bounds. The Lions will take over at the 37-yard line.
Just didn't kick the ball high enough. A little too flat, but he got it to the right.
Dave Craig became the starting quarterback by accident in a game against Green Bay in Milwaukee. It was devastating. Packers went up 31-7, and Craig rallied them all the way. Lost it by 8 through an incomplete pass on 4th down in the end zone. 38-30. Now Craig will start from the get-go in Green Bay. This is Barry Sanders. No surprise who gets it on the first call. And beautiful defense as they string it out with Coons, the final linebacker.
Reggie White was lined up over on the right side. Detroit likes to run to the left. There's where they like to run. And Reggie is lining up over on the defensive right, offensive left. Broke up the play.
Now there's Barry, number 20, the key guy. And in the offensive line, of course, Lomas Brown will tell you, you never know where number 20 is going to cut off a block. 2nd down and 12. Harriman motioned back outside by Craig. Barry looking for daylight, squeezes through a hole. But it's going to put them in 3rd and long with George Teague making the stop. And defensively for the Packers, Reggie White, number 92, the great veteran Sean Jones could be a key man today for the Packers. And in this 4-3 system, Bryce Popp had a field day against the Lions in Milwaukee. The defensive backs, and wouldn't they love, Dick, to get Herman Moore over on Terrell Buckley, as Boomer Esiason pointed out in the pregame show.
They aren't going to leave him like that, Brent. If Buckley's on him, they're going to roll the coverage to him.
it to Berry for the 3rd straight time, and the Packers eat him up. Don Davey, 4-year pro out of Wisconsin, is in there. Reggie White is in there. A 6-yard loss, and it's 3 and out for Detroit, and Greg Montgomery trots onto the field.
They're moving Reggie White around to a different position all the time. Here he is now on a power rush. He just destroys it. This is the 3rd alignment position he's taken. You see that power rush? Nobody can stop him if he just takes off and turns it loose.
Robert Brooks will return punts. Standing back at the Packers' 21-yard line. Up on Montgomery's punt, has it at the 28-yard line, and sprints to the right. Out to the 36-yard line and out of bounds. The Packers lead at 7-0 as we take a break. Saturday afternoon, the last day of 1994, Green Bay, Wisconsin. The weather just perfect for a playoff football game. As a matter of fact, several of the Packers came over to us yesterday and said, it should rain a little bit, a little snow in here. It might be easier to deal with number 20. Now it's 1st and 10. Brett Favre and Green Bay lead it 7-0. And with that lead, they'll bring Edgar Bennett. And there's a penalty flag thrown by the umpire as he slipped through a hole. And now our crew, Gary Lane is our referee today, and Al Conway was the umpire who threw that penalty flag.
Face mask, 5 yards, number 91. 5 yards from the end of the run, still 1st down.
Well, tonight, ring in the new year on ABC at 8, 7 Central. The ABC Family Movie invites your family to a wedding Flintstone style. A yabba dabba doo, followed by the commish. Stick around then for ABC's annual New Year's Rockin' Eve, all tonight on ABC. So a 1st down with Edgar Bennett and the penalty tacked on. And the ball is out to the Green Bay 46-yard line. In the early going, the storyline, the Packers without Sterling Sharp have taken control, but it is very early. Far right over the middle, Bennett again. Bennett rages to the 36-yard line, and Dick, the Lion defense has to do something. Much too passive against the Packers right
This is their style of defense because they felt they're forced to play this style of defense. They're afraid of playing tight coverage because of mismatches. Right now, they're going to have to change up. Come with some blitzes, take some chances on some picks. They've got to stop him. If this game gets out of reach, Barry Sanders is not a factor offensively.
17 more yards. Favre to Bennett. Now Reggie Cobb comes in, and Bennett offsets to the right. Cobb steps behind the left side of the line to the 33-yard line, with Chris Spielman making the stop for the Lions.
I asked Wayne Fonts the other day in his office about his defense and his football team in general. What does he have to do to keep it improving? He says, our problem right now, Dick, is we're not quite fast enough on defense, and it is glaring on our coverage team, kickoff and punt coverage teams. We're just not quite fast enough, and it shows against a quick football team.
33-yard line.
2nd and 7 for Favre and the Packers. Green Bay leads Detroit 7-0 here. 3:20 to go, the opening quarter.
He's audibling here.
And he will throw on the move. Brooks drops it. Penalty flag is thrown by the referee.
They don't audible a lot, Brent. About 70 times this whole year have they audible an offensive play on the line of scrimmage.
Legal child block, unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 34, number 68.
That's interesting. Edgar Bennett had moved over into a blocking position, and when he attacked the left side of the defensive formation, he threw his body in too low on that block, and he was picked up on it.
Yeah, see, the defender was engaged by another offensive blocker, and you just can't do that. Edgar Bennett is really a super young man. They really like him here. Lee Remmel, the information director here, has been here forever. I think, you know, and he said he is the finest young man he thinks that's ever come through here in terms of making a contribution in every possible way to the Green Bay Packer organization.
Well, now they make a couple of lineup adjustments, and Charles Jordan, number 80, checks in. They need an extra wide receiver in this package because it's 2nd and 22. And now they have to go with their 3 wide package and see what they can do.
They have to be alert for screens now. They're a great screen team.
They flare one over to Bennett, and he's down at the 45-yard line. And that penalty really slowed up this drive, didn't it? Because now it's going to be 3rd and long for Favre and the Packers.
You know, Mike Holmgren made the comment yesterday that the one thing he was going to make sure he doesn't do, he's not going to get greedy. If they have success early, he's going to remain patient and not try to get too aggressive and make a mistake.
Look how those offensive tackles are allowed now to back a little bit further off that scrimmage line. See how it gives him a little bit of leverage. He tried to set it in the middle that time, and oh, baby, was that almost a huge play for Robert Porcher.
He wanted to run the middle screen, which you don't see very often. It's a very, very good play. I watched them run it on the practice field on Thursday. It looked better on the field.
It better have.
Porcher was released a little too soon. See, they didn't take enough of him. McIntyre's got to square off him and hold him just a little bit longer.
Now it'll be the Packers punting.
Nice punt. Nice. Boy, that's a dandy.
And Gray with a bluffing the fair catch, and it is down inside the 10-yard line. Craig Hendricks punt down inside the 10-yard line, a 38-yarder. 13 seconds of this quarter. Green Bay has had the ball. Now Sanders and the Detroit offense go back to work. Not good field position. They're buried back inside their 10-yard line after the Hendrick punt. And Craig on first down looks for Herman Moore, and he's got a first down just like that at the 24-yard line with Doug Evans covering.
See, Reggie White now is playing over on the right side, what they call a 3 technique, outside the guard. Right here, see, coming off the ball, and Sean Bowen's a good power rush, a factor every play. He doesn't always make the play, but he wrecks many plays.
Well, it was interesting that time, Dick, how easily they got the ball to Herman Moore. There's great respect in that defensive backfield of the Packers, and Moore was able to get himself a lot of daylight. Now they come back with Barry Sanders, and they seem to have him covered up pretty well with our friend John Yurkovich making the stop.
Fritz Shermer's game plan, the defensive coordinator for Green Bay, is to keep Doug Evans, number 33, on Herman Moore. He's 6'1" tall. If they have Buckley on Herman Moore, they will roll the coverage to Buckley or play 2 deep zone and roll it up completely.
Yurkovich spends 2 days politicking you, and you pass up an opportunity. When I say our friend, you talk about you can't do that to my man Yurkovich. 2nd down and 9 now. Matthews is the motion receiver for Craig, and Craig snaps one off complete at the 30-yard line, and that time he went to the tight end, Rodney Holman.
And boy, has he caught a lot of footballs in his career. 360, the 3rd all-time tight end. He's an old man. Coached him in an all-star game, 1981.
Dick, I want to talk about Dave Craig. I would call him a survivor. Seattle, Kansas City. Now here he is in a playoff game. He's done a very, very solid job for Detroit. What about him?
The big thing he does, he has total awareness. He's a good leader. He throws the quick time passing game extremely well. They're blitzing him inside.
Bobbled and almost caught by Holman. That would have been a huge.
Yeah, and they were throwing the ball to Herman Moore, and it ends up getting batted to Holman. I've seen that happen before. Almost worked out, but they put the pressure up inside. If you're going to pressure David Craig, pressure him up inside, because he's not the biggest guy in the world. They bring Palp right up in his face. He's got to throw around him or over. Tough to do.
There's Greg Montgomery back to punt again for the Lions, and Brooks set to return for the Packers. These 2 teams in the past this year have played in the 60s. This game doesn't have that appearance yet. Here's Brooks from the 31. Slips a tackle, and out to to the 37 with a penalty flag. A penalty flag has been thrown on the return. We have a penalty down here.
37-yard line.
Gary Lane, the referee there, was a quarterback. Played at Missouri, and then later was at the Rams when I was an assistant coach there as a backup.
Illegal block in the back. Number 51 on the return team. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
So the ball will be put back on the 17-yard line when we return. Field on a beautiful Saturday. Green Bay leading Detroit 7-0. Dick, what about the offensive line for the Packers and the addition of McIntyre?
Well, I'll tell you this, Brent, in watching him play last year and then coming here watching him this year in preparation, it's a much better offensive line all the way across. Tom Lavatt, the offensive line coach, has done an awfully nice job with these guys. Plus, for the most part, they've stayed healthy, all except McIntyre missed a couple games.
First down. Sweeping to the right. And he'll be run out of bounds on that far side.
I'll tell you this. Broderick Thomas over there at that linebacker position better get some lead in his rear end and start holding up the point. He's getting knocked off the ball. That outside backer cannot allow that to happen. They didn't make a lot of plays or a lot of yards, but he cannot get knocked off the ball.
That legal?
What's that?
I mean, I knew jockeys could put lead in the... that's okay for a linebacker.
I caught myself, but I really should have been more descriptive.
Oh, really? The first quarter has come to an end. Green Bay leads it by a touchdown, and we'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC station. And 7-0. This will be a 2nd and 7 for Favre and the Packers. They have been very effective at controlling the clock, moving the ball in terms of total yardage. But still in all, the Lions have to feel very good about the fact that they're only down by 7 right now. They're hanging right with them. Let's see what kind of a second quarter the Lion defense can turn in. Slips a tackle out to the 27-yard line, and let's go down to our colleague Leslie Visser. Leslie.
Brent, Sterling Sharp has been following the line of scrimmage. Brett Favre says he's another quarterback on the team, and he has been signaling in the formations. He told me, though, he will only offer encouragement on the sideline. Brent.
You know, he was doing that the same thing on the practice field the other day when the offensive team was out on the field running their play. He'd go to the backup receivers and question and make sure they were concentrating on what was going on.
Coach, here's a 3rd and 1, and a timeout has been called by the Detroit defense, and that's their first charge timeout. Not a good time to take it, but they do nevertheless. In San Francisco, in an NFC playoff game. And most of you don't think so either. That's interesting. Well, it's 3rd and 1. This team right here that we're looking at, Green Bay, might be about a year away, though, from stepping it up a notch. 3rd and 1 right now. Bennett.
Nice job by Johnson. He really jumped that one, Brent, keying that one back. He really scraped off into the play. Well done. He's got all kinds of experience. 32 years old, 9 years in the leagues, made a ton of tackles, made a critical one right there. You'll see him scrape off. He just attacks. Running back starts to his left. Linebacker will fill coming from the right. He starts to cut back, and here he will appear right now.
So they'll bring the chains out and measure again. Favre was lobbying for it down there. Just, he said, come on, let me take another look here.
He's got to go ahead and punt the football.
Yeah, you can't risk turning it over down there with a 7-point lead. So Holmgren sends Hendrick. Brett Favre's a competitor, though. He battled for it to the end, didn't he? And Mel Gray back deep again. And the Lions would like to take over now. Well, up around their own 40 or 45. They would love to give the offense a chance to open it up. Craig played with a little more confidence on his last series. I guess if Fonts and that staff could be anything, you could call them survivors.
Resilient.
Yeah.
Good punt.
Beautiful.
Good hang time.
Beautiful. Gray.
Nice job on
Make a catch to save a few yards with it there. It's a 48-yard punt by the one-time Notre Dame star. It was a good one. Well, Dick, Peter Hurd has just sent me word that this ties a record. Barry Sanders, 4 carries, no yards. First and 10. And Barry's seeing if he can turn in a better second quarter now. And that offensive line can get him some daylight. The defensive scheme has worked very well. Craig is going to throw on first down. Deflected, incomplete, and he had his wide receiver, Brett Perriman, wide open.
You can see by these stats, it's a Green Bay football game, and the stats indicate a score beyond 7-0. They're allowing Detroit to stay in the football game. When you dominate it like this, 10 minutes time of possession, 107 to 20 total yards like that, you should be further ahead than 7-0.
Here is a change with Detroit. They're going to give Barry a blocking back and send Lynch in on 2nd and 10 and work it out of the eye.
This is a play action formation a lot of times for them, Brent, and then an I lead play.
They lead Barry, and the defense was ready again. Bryce Pop, number 95, makes the tackle.
Fritz Shurmur's defensive game plan against Barry is to stay square with his front 7, but penetrate, get up field, and force a flat cutback. Don't let him cut back and gain ground at the same time. He's not emphasizing coming to balance. He's emphasizing attacking Barry Sanders all the time. Attacking. Don't sit and let him come to you. Make him go and keep him on your inside shoulder when you're in a contained position.
You would think that the Lions would have to consider throwing Barry the ball out of that backfield. 3rd and 14. Craig uses him as a receiver, and it's deflected. They wanted Barry that time, but it was broken up by Sean Jones, number 96, who came rolling in and busted up that pass play.
Boy, Fritz Shurmur, the defensive coordinator, is very pleased with Sean Jones. He says he's worked very, very hard to improve his run defense within their scheme as well. It's known fact that he's a fine pass rusher, 99 sacks in his career, so they know he can rush, but he's done a much better job against the run this year, or at least improved.
The control of Sanders is becoming a huge story in this game. Hendrick's punt also, and 3 and out, and the Packers are going to gain some field position. And into a slight breeze, not as successful, and Brooks makes the catch at the 48-yard line. A 32-yard punt for Montgomery, and the Packers gain on that exchange.
State stakes its claim to the national title when they battle Pac-10 champ Oregon. It's the granddaddy of them all, the Rose Bowl, Monday on ABC.
ABC Sports coverage of the NFC wildcard playoff game is brought to you by Bud Bowl 7. This year it's going to be a whole new ball game. And Delta Airlines. You'll love the way we fly. Barry Sanders has been hogtied in Lambeau Field. 5 carries and now -4. He hit him, remember, for 188 yards, this same defense on a carpet over in Pontiac early in the year. Rushed for over 50 in Milwaukee, and now Favre being hotly pursued. They tried to set the screen, and the Lions are all over it. If they came in here determined to do anything, it was to bust up the screen, and Chris Spielman was the ringleader along with Kelvin Prechet.
Green Bay has the reputation of being one of the best screen teams in the National Football League, and the reason they are, they tie the screens in with patterns that are tough to defense, patterns that they've already been successful with, patterns that require linebackers to cover receivers and distract them from covering the screen man. And that time, though, Spielman was all over that. There's Herb Patera, the coordinator.
Terry Mickens, number 88, has checked in as a wide receiver in this package. He dislocated his index finger in practice the other day. Favre, center field, caught inside the 25-yard line by Chimura, the tight end. They got it down deep in center field. Shades of Jackie Harris. This is something the Packers were hoping to discover with Chimura, who makes a fine catch.
See, they went empty, no back in the backfield. It's something they don't do very often. He had the option of throwing the delay underneath or going to the tight end down the seam in that zone defense right there. You've got to stop the tight end from getting down there quickly right on the line of scrimmage. See, he got off cleanly. Spielman's running him with right there, but he looks back, and as he looks back, Chimura just runs away from him.
Now 1st and 10 at the 22. Bennett slams his way for a couple of yards before Mark Spindler, and friends in the middle of that defensive line bring him down.
That was a real nice job of defense by Robert Porcher over there in that side, Brent. He was the post right there. He just stacked it all up and then got help from the other people. That was good defensive line play by Robert. See, when you allow a tight end in those zone coverages to get off the line of scrimmage cleanly, that is tough on the linebacker. That defensive end should take a big piece of it, but don't let him get off cleanly. At least that's what I think.
Cobb and Bennett. Chimura, the tight end, switches over to the right side of the formation. And Favre firing to the end zone, incomplete. Brooks was working underneath, and Favre virtually threw that one away in the back of the end zone.
He is so much better a quarterback this year than last year. Last year, 19 touchdowns, 24 pass interceptions. This year, he's turned it around, 33 touchdowns, 14 pass interceptions. Why? Well, they say he's more mature, he's more experienced. I think they've also done a better job of coaching him and giving him better definition of everything they're doing with the ball. You have to salute Steve Mariucci, who coaches him.
3rd and 8. Favre in trouble. Throws it away. Now, was he considered to be outside of the pocket on that? There was no receiver working in that area. He had dropped right straight back. There are no penalty flags down, and the field goal unit trots onto the field.
Well, that was a real good defensive series after that first big seam pass to Chimura right there to stop him down there. Possibly they should have come after him, running the ball a little bit more. That 3 straight passes in a row, not effective for him.
So Chris Jackie will attempt the field goal with his punter, Craig Hentrick. Holding. He'll put the ball down, and this will be a 37-yard field goal attempt. A little slight breeze at their back.
He's 4 for 6 this year kicking from this distance. Whistles down there.
So a big miss after the Favre to Chimura play, and the Lion defense with its best stand of the game so far. And even though Green Bay has completely dominated the game, the Lions only trail it by 7 points.
It all looked good from here. He's trying to get that off in 1.2 seconds. He gets it down nicely, turns the laces away. Bang, he just hooks it there off to the left.
And so now it is Craig and the Lions back on offense here with 10:22 to go in the first half. 34-yard line. The defender was Terrell Buckley. And a reminder of Monday, a big bowl day here on ABC. The Comp USA Florida Citrus Bowl in Orlando, Alabama and Ohio State. That starts it off for us. That's at 1 Eastern time. Then Penn State. They'll make their argument for a national championship against Oregon in the Rose Bowl, the USF&G Insurance Sugar Bowl. Florida State and Florida down in New Orleans. Second down and 2. And Sanders can't even get to the line of scrimmage.
That's Reggie White again. See, he is attacking the offensive line. He's coming off the ball. They say he gets doubled so much that he has developed a tendency to look for the double team. He is not looking for anything right now. 92, left center of your screen. Wham! He's coming off hard on that 3 technique. Gets underneath Lomas Brown. Penetration. No way a running back can make an inch with that kind of penetration.
Well, Dick, when your great running back is having a problem, what kind of play works against that defense?
They have some traps in that they haven't run with him. They're also going to have to throw him the ball out strong side.
Third down, broken up beautifully by Buckley. Big defensive play by the defensive back for the Packers.
You notice how all the players rally around Buckley? I think the people here, the players, feel that he's been picked on a little bit. And they are rally around him, and they stick by him. And he told me about this yesterday. He says, I can cover. I've been beaten twice for touchdowns this year. I can cover tall guys. I can cover short guys. He said, but what I really appreciate is the support my teammates have given me when people are getting on me.
Been a busy Saturday for Greg Montgomery. Back in there to punt again.
He's a good one.
Robert Brooks is the return man. Brooks going to let this one go. And it takes a little bit of a Detroit roll inside the 35.
The other thing Detroit's going to have to do with their offense, when they're seeing a lot of double zone, they're going to have to work the tight end and those people down inside that double zone.
Big day so far for 92. For last year's playoff game between these two teams, trading punches back and forth, one of them off the canvas, the other had come back. Folks, this game's nothing like it. I mean, this is dull by comparison with that one last year, isn't it? It's 7-0. Packers lead the Lions. Defense is the name of the game. Barry Sanders has been swallowed. Now it's Brett Favre and the Packers. They scored on their first possession. They've been unable to get into the end zone since. 1st and 10, and Favre on first down. And find a man open. Now he goes deep down the left sideline. Bumping. Oh, was there bumping? Incomplete. Are they going to rule it was an uncatchable ball? You talk about contact down there. It was Massey and Charles Jordan hooking up.
They backed into each other. He actually knocked him down. Now see, watch them turning back. Here comes Massey. He just backs into him now, and he just knocks him down. Woo!
Now, oh, that was catchable. How can you not throw the flag on that? Excuse me?
Is that incidental contact?
These guys are close to the game.
That's a knockdown. 3
I don't want
points.
to second guess my guys. It's okay. But that one did look catchable. 2nd down and 10. 8:57 in the first half. Favre complete. Penalty flag is thrown by the referee.
There on the reception.
Let's go down to Leslie.
Brent, before the game today, Barry Sanders told me he was wearing his normal grass shoes. Those are half-inch cleats. He said he didn't think it would be a problem, but clearly he's only got -5 yards. Maybe it's the shoes.
And then again, maybe it's 92. I don't know.
Maybe he's not just getting enough help. He's one of the few people that can run the ball efficiently without a lot of blocking, but you've got to get some blocking.
Now, McIntyre reacted vehemently against this call after it was made. The Packers have been penalized back inside of the 25-yard line. And now it is 2nd and 20 after the penalty. Bennett into the backfield for Green Bay. Along with Reggie Cobb, and Bennett switches over there to the right side of the formation behind Chimura. Favre Brooks going to try it again. This time down the middle. Brooks. I'll tell you what Green Bay is finding here, Dick, that they can bust receivers deep on this defensive backfield.
Well, this is what they wanted to do because they haven't been doing it in the games they played against Detroit prior to this one. The Detroit defenders were squatting on them, so they decided in game plan we are going deep, either down the hole or down the sideline, and either direct deep patterns or double move patterns, slant and go, hook and go.
Now, Favre at one time was 11 of 13. He's now missed his last 4. So there are his current numbers. Facing a 3rd and 20. Here comes pass 18, you would imagine. Off a play fake. Favre on the run, throws high. Almost a great catch on that far side by Anthony Morgan.
You can see that Favre can throw the ball at any type of delivery. He doesn't have to be set up. What he's done this year in contrast to last year, when he got in those situations, scramble situations, Brent, he was throwing interceptions. This year he's been making plays.
Next, it's the AFC wild card game here on ABC. What a matchup on paper, huh? Joe Montana, Dan Marino. Well, that'd be good. Down in Miami, when we went to Frank Gifford earlier, the weather looked very, very good down there. Now the punt by Hendrick.
That's a little bit low. Get to him quick.
Ray from the 34. Slips a couple of tackles. Ray across midfield, and maybe that'll give the Lions a spark. A 17-yard return.
He is something, you know, people keep talking about him as a kickoff returner, but he's almost as good as a punt returner. All-time yards, he is spectacular. And he attacks people, Brent. He runs right at him. He doesn't make drastic cuts. He'll take this ball. He'll get a block here to the right side of the screen. He gets a little nudge right there. Now watch him right up the middle of there. He attacks upfield again. A courageous, courageous football player.
Dick, they're going to try Eric Lynch again in that backfield along with Berry.
He's a lead blocker type guy, Brent, when he's in there. Also a play action blocker.
Wide receiver. End around is Perriman. Perriman's being chased to the right side. Well defended. Doug Evans makes the stop.
The guy that got there deep was Don Davey, the 4th defensive lineman, playing defensive end out there on the left side. Good discipline. He got upfield and forced it back to the inside. Don Davey is not going to make many mistakes. There's 4 possessions. Almost a waste of time
so far. But again, remember, if you're a Lion fan, you're very happy by the fact that it's only a 7-point game. A lot of times, that's the way the NFL unfolds, and then suddenly, bang, you finally find that big play that the Lions hold it on. Craig at the 41-yard line, and Reggie White doing a number.
Reggie White got there. They were holding him so bad he couldn't get out of the grip. Reggie White, middle of your screen on Bowens, number 66. Look at him. They got him open. Now watch him try to get rid of it. He can't. They got. Look at the hole. Look at the hole. They spin him around. He finally fights out of the hole. Forces Craig up inside.
Third and 18. Craig under pressure again, and he's sacked. Bryce Pop. And the ball came scrambling out of there. The Lions finally fell on it, and Montgomery in to punt.
This defense is absolutely destroying the offensive line of Detroit right now. They're coming off the ball. They're attacking people. They're getting upfield. They're playing with great intensity. They just don't quit coming. Excellent play there by Bryce Pop. He's on his knees crawling for the guy. He wants to win.
So Holman picked up the fumble, and Montgomery punting for the Lions.
The wind is pushing that one back.
Brooks lets it hit. And it is down 31-yard line.
Now they're down
fans are protesting that the ball struck a Packer, and they're again coming up next, Kansas City and Miami, the AFC wild card playoff game here on ABC. Montana Marino, they squared off once in the Super Bowl, didn't they, when Joe was out in San Francisco playing for the 49ers. Marino has never won a Super Bowl. So let's take a closer look here, Dick.
Ball's bouncing. Right now there aren't any green jerseys around there. No, he gets by it. Doesn't look like it touched him.
Well, I'm not sure that that's a definitive angle. Wasn't the ball in front of the So it is 1st and 10. Favre hands it off, and Cobb is slammed at the 29-yard line by Spindler. Let's take another look at this angle.
That's Corey Harris, number 30, right there. See, it goes underneath his elbow, beyond his hip. It does not touch him.
Yep. So it's a good non-call in that situation, and it's 2nd down and 11.
Mark Spindler just made an excellent defensive play from his no guard position, Brent. Really good play.
Favre steps away from the pressure. The receivers were well covered. Throws back into the middle to Chimura to midfield, and it's a 1st down.
See, what they did is they doubled up both wide receivers. He's forced out of the pocket. They double up both wide receivers. Right here. The safety's going to be here and here. He's forced out of that pocket. He works back inside to Chimura. Chimura's in the middle of your screen, working down the hole. That's where you ought to go against that coverage. He's on a linebacker. Freeze it right there. See, he's right here now, one-on-one on a linebacker. Good job of working away from the defender. Good job of locating the receiver.
Packers at midfield on 1st down. Here's the pitch to Bennett. Bennett for 3 more yards, and Spindler again.
Detroit's defense, you've got to give them credit. These guys are battling. They're doing a good job. They just got to get something going offensively. Get a takeover here right now, take away something like that, it would help them. Patera calling the defensive signals. 2 might be cover 2. They're playing a lot more zone now, as I said earlier, because they're concerned with the one-on-one matchups and they're concerned with pick-type patterns.
End around. Brooks brings it around the left side. They block Massey, and Brooks finally out of bounds inside the 35-yard line. The key was they were able to get over and block Massey that time to free the way. Harry Galbraith, the guard, got out on that play.
The key to that is just what you said, Brent. They had a good block at the point of it. First, they have a good block right here, and then Galbraith comes around and gets a clean-up block on the reverse. Good job with the point. Tight end does a good job of holding up. Galbraith comes around there. Galbraith, having his best year right there, does a good job of springing it for the 1st down.
That is 10 first downs for the Packers, and only 1 in this game for the Lions. Packers inside the 35. Favre bobble goes back, and it's incomplete.
You know, he wanted to try to go to an out-and-up move by the tight end, because I saw this on the practice field on Thursday. They covered it. He went to his 2nd receiver. It was bobbled. But he wanted to try to get deep down the hole. Here's another look at it from the other side. See, he didn't want to go there. The defense forced him to go there. Good job of coverage.
Jordan checks into the game for the Packers. This will be a 3-wide formation set.
He's a speed guy, Jordan is, but he can fly.
2nd down and 10. They bring Mickens in motion. They'll run out of this formation with Reggie Cobb, and they only gain a couple of yards, and this is going to be 3rd and long now for the Packers.
Well, they've been an excellent 3rd down conversion team against the Packers this year. They converted 58% in the 2 games coming into this one. 3rd and 9 is really long. It's tough to do it, but they have been very efficient. Looking at total yards, look at this, 183 to 9, and you're up 7-0. Scary. They're leaving them in the game.
Now Favre gets one-on-one, and Massey had his back to the play. They were trying to pick up Jordan, who And here comes Hendrick. The Packers are not even close enough. Now, wait a minute. Jackie's, let me correct myself, because obviously Hendrick was coming onto the field. He's the holder along with me, the punter. And here comes Jackie. They are going to try a long field goal after missing a shorter one here earlier in the game.
See, they can feel if they miss it, even though it comes back to the spot. So far, Detroit hasn't done anything. We can take a chance. That's got to be their thinking. If Detroit had been moving the ball, I think they'd go ahead and punt it.
It's going to be a 51-yard attempt.
He's 1 for 3 this year.
Good. He comes back and nails a 51-yarder. Who can understand kickers, folks? Who can get inside the mind of a kicker?
You know
They're
what
unbelievable, these
Mike
guys.
Holmgren says to him, kick it between the goalposts. He says, that's how I coach him. Kick it between the goalposts. Good coaching, Holmgren. Good job. He listened to you this time. I used to think all you should do with a kicker is tape an aspirin in his head and let him play. You know, drive me sick. They drive you crazy.
2:56, and the Packers are up by 10, dominating the game here in Green Bay. Of course, the story, you've read it all week. You've heard it on the radio. They have never, ever lost a playoff game in Green Bay. Now, 82, that was their last win here. That was a strike year. Before that, you go back to the Ice Bowl. Vince Lombardi and Bart Starr. They're tough in this environment. You would have thought, though, the one thing that surprises me, I've got to tell you, Dick, I'm really surprised that Barry Sanders has been so bottled up with the weather conditions being ideal, and Vince Lombardi would have applauded the way the defense is playing against number 20.
Yeah, the offensive line is just not coming off the ball regardless. They're just getting whipped at the point of attack. Not every guy each snap, but somebody's breaking down on each snap. It's the only way you can keep him to minus yardage.
Will kick to Belgrade.
You know, both head coaches told me that change in the kickoff rule in the tee has affected their kickers, not only as kickoff people, but as field goal kickers. He says that both of them have been affected. Mike Holmgren told me that. Wayne Fonts told me that.
1-inch tee, and the ball by Gray is fielded at the 15-yard line. Lions looking for a play, and Gray's got himself at least a little alley, and he gets out to the 36-yard line before he's run out of bounds by Tim Houck, a young man from Big Timber, Montana, who played at the University of Montana. His brother was an assistant with your good friend, Coach Donahue, out at UCLA a few years back.
In talking to David Craig about the game plan, the one thing he was concerned about with Green Bay is you can't audible much because they disguise their coverage package to the point that you can't check off on the line of scrimmage and change to a better pattern.
Well, let's see what Detroit can come up with here.
They're showing double zone look right now.
Only one first down.
They back out.
And this time throwing underneath that coverage, and at least they get some positive yards. They get the ball into Aubrey Matthews' hands on first down.
Right there was an example of what David Craig was talking about. Green Bay showed a double zone look, and right prior to the snap, they rolled out of the double zone look to a totally different coverage. That's why it's tough to audible. Sean Bowen some help. The trouble is he's playing what they call a 3 technique, outside shoulder of the guard. The center can't get over there fast enough to help him. He's just taken Bowens right on back into the quarterback's lap. A 3-step drop. He's only about 4 yards deep, Brent, and Reggie's there almost as quick as the quarterback.
Now, some of the folks would want to know, how do you get him help in that situation?
Well, one thing, the guard has got to set firmer, maybe change up with a cut technique. We'll see what they do to Bowens now. They can bring the tackle down if they have a tight end to help on the outside. But they don't now because they're sending him in motion.
Reggie coming. Craig has to go on the move. A diving catch for Perriman. And Perriman is finally thrown down at the 10-yard line by Buckley. But what a grab by number 80, a 46-yard gain.
Reggie White did his part. David Craig did his part. Somebody blew the coverage. They turned the man loose.
Watch this grab by Perriman. This is the first big play for the Lions offense. Can they build off it?
Too deep right here, but they don't go too deep. They go one-on-one right here. Buckley has him all alone. Now he stops, he looks back into the backfield, thinks they're going to get sacked. He loses the receiver who takes off on downfield. Big play.
46 yards, Dick, and prior to that, the Lions had only 14 total yards. Now it is 1st and 10, Detroit threatening, and Craig on 1st down, batted down, 2nd and 10.
That good, tough inside rush, tall defensive lineman. Boy, you take a 6'5" guy, he raises his hands up. You got a quarterback at 6'1", and not a real high delivery. It's tough to get it over the top of people. You've got to find a throwing lane in between those pass rushers and offensive linemen, especially on those low crossing patterns.
Now you can see Reggie switching positions. He goes now to the left side of the defense. And Craig is going to run Berry, and he's cut off and buried at the 13. Bryce Pop.
See, they're doing a good job defensively of getting upfield, attacking him all the time, and not using the old coaching term, come to balance. What they told me at Green Bay is if you come to balance, Barry comes to balance, you lose. And it's working so far. Wayne Fonts says, I can't believe it. Wayne Fonts is really proud of himself. He's lost 20 pounds. Right now he's losing about 20 pounds in his first half.
Reminder, Dick, that coming up on the Lexus halftime report, John Saunders and Boomer Esiason will have first half highlights. And now Michaels will have a preview of today's AFC wildcard game between Kansas City and Miami. So that's ahead of us on the Lexus halftime report. We have 1:43 remaining until halftime. This will be a 3rd and 12 for the Lions. The Lions trail the Packers 10-0. Well, what does Detroit like to do down here, Coach? Inside the 20-yard line.
They've got to get the ball to Herman Moore. They've got to try that. Tom Moore, the quarterback coach, was talking to them over there on the sideline. Probably try to get in a formation with 3 receivers one side and get Herman Moore the other way and try to get him the football. He's their touchdown maker.
It's hard to believe that he has only 1 catch as he goes out now to the right side of the formation. Evans is locked up with him over there on that side.
It looks like he's going to get safety help.
Craig glances back, incomplete. He tried to look off by looking to the left, came back late to Aubrey Matthews, and it was not all that well thrown. And now it will be Jason Hansen trotting onto the field. He will attempt the field goal as the Lions want to get something on the scoreboard before the half.
See, they're not allowing David to set up. I mean, he gets back, he gets his drop, he sets up for a second, and the rush is there, and he's got to move right now. That breaks his concentration on what's happening downfield. Therefore, he's not throwing accurately.
Montgomery is going to put this one down around the 20. It will be a 30-yard attempt for Hansen.
He's 7 for 7 this year at this distance. He doesn't miss many.
He struggled a little bit for the left hash mark in pregame warm-ups. But this time, he missed again. And it's that hash mark, and it's that spot prior to the game where Jason Hansen was troubled for about 15 minutes. When he went over to the right hash mark, he was much more accurate. Then when they brought him back another 10 yards, he was right on the money. And the Lions cannot believe it.
Everything appears to be properly done. Good execution there. They get it down. He gets it off in time. Just doesn't kick it accurately. Again, Wayne Fonts told me the new kickoff rule has really affected this guy. He's 0 for 5 outside 50 yards. He came into the season a very strong kicker inside the 40. He had missed one. I mean, he'd had unbelievable record. There he misses one.
Now a minute and a half to go. The Pack up by 10. And the handoff is running back, and they now prefer just to run that clock down as they work behind the left side of the offensive line. They have used Edgar Bennett as both a receiver and a ball carrier. Hansen and Montgomery. And Hansen said, you know, we couldn't do it in the pregame warm-ups, and I do it again. And it was from the left hash mark. As soon as Montgomery and Hansen went to the right, there was no trouble.
Robert Porcher, I mentioned his name before, but the tackle in there is playing real well. I mean, he just stuffed that football play.
Final minute, first half. Packers are going to take a lead into the locker room here at Lambeau Field. They'll use Bennett to work on the clock.
They take a lead and they run a lead draw. See, the Packers don't see many 30 defensive teams anymore. Detroit's one of the few defensive teams left playing the nose guard on the center, what they call a two-gap technique, and it's a little bit different for them now. Where in the past that used to see it, maybe of 16 games, you see it 12 games.
I just think that the most amazing statistic from the first half is not the fact that the Packers lead it, but I think Barry Sanders' totals here in the first half are something that no one would have predicted. Folks, at the half, Barry Sanders, 7 carries for -6 yards. It's 10-0, the Packers. John Saunders will be back after a word from our ABC stations.
The Lexus NFC Wildcard Halftime Report, brought to you by Lexus, maker of the faster and roomier 1995 LS400. From our studio in New York, your host, John Saunders.
10-0 is the score at halftime. Green Bay at home leading the Detroit Lions in the first of 2 wildcard games here on ABC. John Saunders here along with Boomer Esiason. We'll hear from Boomer in just a moment. But first, let's take a look at the highlights in the first half. And there weren't that many. This is the only Fox working on this day. But here, Dorsey Levens, just his 6th NFL carry is for a touchdown, 3 yards. And then, Boomer, the defense simply takes over.
I'll tell you, I've been very impressed with the Packer defense. Right here, Bryce Pop stops. Barry Sanders behind the line of scrimmage, and on the next play, you'll see what Reggie White can do. He just takes an inside move against Lomas Brown and stops again. Barry in the backfield. Barry has negative yardage, actually, going into the second half.
Now, at this point, they were only down 10-0, and then a big play.
Well, the one thing that you have to do to convince yourself as a Detroit offensive player is that you're basically one play away from getting back into this football game, as evidenced by this particular play here. So you can know that Detroit is not that far out of it. They're right now in the locker room. Wayne Fontes is telling his offensive players, don't panic, just relax. If I did have some advice for Detroit, what I would do is try to take some of the pressure off of Barry Sanders, try to open it up, get Herman Moore a little bit more involved, allow Dave Craig's experience to read defenses and play in games such as this to take over. That's what you have him there for. That's what he's done, and I know that he's up to the task.
Yeah, you say, essentially, we played terrible football, and we're only down 10-0 at halftime. Now, for the Green Bay Packers, Sterling Sharp not in there. You showed some concern about that at the start, but they haven't missed him thus far.
I'm very impressed with the play of Brett Favre at this point. You know, one of the things that hurt Brett last year was that he did not play within the system, the 49ers-style passing game. And one of the things that he has done over the last 8 games is he stayed within that system. And you can see that he's completing a lot of short passes. He's moving the football. And he has the ability to get out of the pocket, throw the ball down the field, and the Lions caught another break when Robert Massey did not get called on pass interference down the deep left sideline. So they have controlled the football game. Brett Favre has been pretty good thus far. I just wonder if they can do it for 4 quarters because Detroit is hanging around.
You mentioned that Sterling Sharp obviously not in the game, and that was a concern before the contest. Do you notice any change in the game plan because of that, or is this the system you go with?
Yeah, you know, I'll tell you what, maybe we should listen to Coach Holmgren a little bit more because he has not changed his game plan. They look like the Green Bay Packers with Sterling Sharp out there. They have allowed Brett Favre to move around. They've run the same type of running plays, and they even came out throwing in this game. So it just shows me that he has great confidence in his young quarterback, and so far Brett has been up to the task.
All right, they're up 10-0 and 1/2 away from advancing in the NFL playoffs. We'll continue with more in just a moment. The second half of our doubleheader comes from Joe Robbie Stadium. 2 of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game. We'll get a report on that in just a moment. We're at halftime of the NFC wildcard game. The Detroit Lions, with some work left in the second half, trailing the Packers 10-0. That's game number 1 of our doubleheader. The second half comes from Joe Robbie Stadium in the AFC. The Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Miami Dolphins. For a preview of that game, let's go down to Joe Robbie and join Al Michaels. Al.
Okay, John, here in Miami, we have clearly the most glamorous matchup of this wild card weekend, as the Kansas City Chiefs, a wild card with a mark of 9-7, take on the Miami Dolphins, who fashioned a mark of 10-6 during the regular season and won their second AFC East title over the past 3 years. The marquee matchup, naturally, the two quarterbacks, Joe Montana against Dan Marino. Two guys who have not faced each other in a game since January 20th, 1985. Almost 10 years ago, it was Super Bowl 19 at Stanford Stadium. Dan Marino was in his second year out of the University of Pittsburgh, and Marino had a decent day. He passed for 318 yards and 1 touchdown, but he was trumped by Joe Montana, who had a spectacular afternoon as the 49ers won the game 38-16. Montana won the MVP award that day. He would go on to win 3 MVP titles and 4 Super Bowls as a member of the San Francisco 49ers. Now Joe, at the age of 38, is in his second year at the helm in Kansas City, and in week 2 this season, he faced his ex-mates for the first time and guided the Chiefs to a victory over the 49ers. And then who can forget that fabulous Monday night game at the end in Denver on October 17th? He throws to the end zone. It is off for a touchdown by Davis. Another magical moment for Montana. Then last week in a game the Chiefs had to win to get to the playoffs, he hit Willie Davis early with his touchdown pass. The Chiefs were never headed, and into the playoffs they go for the 5th consecutive season. Very few people know how to prepare for a big game better than Joe Montana.
The biggest part of the quarterback's job is mental preparation, no matter what you do. And physically, you don't have to be the biggest and strongest. You just have to be prepared mentally for almost every situation that can happen to you on the field.
Then there's Dan Marino. He had been so durable. Last year he suffered the Achilles tear. He missed most of the season, but has bounced back with a terrific season in 1994. And last week in the game the Dolphins had to win the AFC East, he had another big day as Dan Marino guides this team to a mark of 10-6. And his statistics through the years have been spectacular.
When you have career stats that are the type of numbers that I have, that means you've been playing a long time. And the only thing it's missing is winning a Super Bowl. So obviously that's one of my dreams.
All right, John, put it up there in bright neon. Joe Montana, Dan Marino, Kansas City and Miami coming up after Green Bay and Detroit. Back to you.
All right, Al, thanks a lot. All right, Boomer, you have a grudge against both of these guys. Dan Marino messed up the Jets' season this year, and Joe Montana messed up Super Bowl 23 when you were with the Bengals.
Well, I'll tell you what, this is going to be a great game. It should be a lot of fun. Should be balls fill in the air. If I had to give the edge to somebody, I would give it to Miami's Dan Marino, and the reason being is because he's playing at home. He's been in that system for all those years, and this is his, he probably feels like one of his last chances, so he has to make it go this week.
Yeah, you certainly can't question how hungry he is wanting to get to the Super Bowl one more time. Been there once before. We'll continue with the second half in just a moment. Green Bay leading the Lions 10-0 at halftime, and we'll see you between games. Enjoy the second half.
Style tonight on Channel 7.
Green Bay leading Detroit 10-0 here at halftime in Lambeau Field. Dick Vermeil, this is not nearly as exciting than when we played last year in Pontiac.
I know.
What do we do to liven this one up?
Well, I'll tell you this. They're going to have to run some draws, some traps on Reggie White. They're going to have to get the ball outside, and they're going to have to throw the ball to Sanders if they want him to
Folks,
get the
now
ball
here's
in.
the draws and traps. That's what we always look for when we want excitement. I want Barry Sanders to explode. Hey, listen, take me to a couple of highlights here, Dick, and tell me what we got.
The only touchdown of the game, you know, execution is really important. And if Bennett here, the fullback, leads through and gets the key block at the point of the attack, right side of your screen, you'll see Bennett right there, get slow underneath the linebacker Johnson. That gives him that little cushion to bounce into the end zone standing up. Good job.
Now, I think the key thing defensively, and you pointed it out early, is what the Packers are doing with Reggie White.
Well, they don't know. Detroit does not know where he's going to line up. Detroit likes to run to their left, defensive right. They're playing Reggie over on the right side a lot, then to the left, but back to the right. And he is a devastating power rusher. And if you aren't used to playing on him, you are in trouble. And here is what I'm talking about. 92, left center of your screen, Sean Bowen, 66. He sets, he's doing the best he can, and there's the most powerful man playing football in the National Football League. Takes him right back to the quarterback. Then he gets out of the hold and forces the sack when he gets some help. Reggie White, the best of all time.
So high praise indeed for number 92 by Dick Vermeil.
It's the best I've ever seen. He is the best I have ever seen. And I'm not as old as you, maybe, but, but I've
no
seen
maybes about that, Coach.
I've seen Deacon Jones, Merlin Olsen, all these guys.
Now,
and there's a guy. And there's
some
a guy.
say he's the best.
He might very well be, but right now he's not getting the opportunity to prove it. He needs some help. They've got a fine offensive coaching staff. They will come up with things here in the second half that they can move the ball with.
Well, let's see if the Lions can get a lift from Mel Gray and the second half kickoff. He's done it many a time. Gray looking for an alley. Gray swings to the outside. Gray run out of bounds, and if ever there was a time that the Lions needed a spark from Gray, that was it. A 38-yard return. Leslie, what do you got for us?
Brant, Wayne Thon said they are simply overwhelming us at the line of scrimmage. He said we're going to have to open it up. A lot of short, quick passes to start the second half. As for Mike Holmgren, he said, well, they're probably pretty happy with what they've done defensively. He said we've done a great job on Barry Sanders by cutting off the edges and pursuing them on the backside. Brent?
Yeah, Leslie, and while you were talking to the coaches, Jason Hansen trotted out, attempted a few more field goals from that spot that has been troubling him down there. So the Lions now will see if they can climb back in this. Barry Sanders has been throttled, and there's Craig. Just what they told Leslie. First down, Perriman, and Buckley had the coverage incomplete.
Do you notice how Buckley did not turn and look back for the ball as the ball was coming down and the receiver turned back? He told me that's getting him in trouble with the new rules that you can't touch him or anything like that. He said, I have to quit looking back and just concentrate on powering my way into that receiver. And he did look back at the last second there. Good job of playing defense.
2nd and 10 for the Lions. Aubrey Matthews is out to the left along with Perriman. The slot man, and then Matthews comes in motion, and now Craig will look in that direction, back over the middle, and he's got Matthews, and Matthews is inside the 35-yard line.
See, that time David Craig was allowed to get back, set up inside, set firm, allow the pattern to develop, and throw it in time. If you do that, he's going to throw the strike. See, no pressure up inside. The rush came around to the outside. They did a good job of doubling up Reggie inside. See, the time they gave him in there, that allowed that pattern to develop. Good job by David Craig and the offensive line.
The ball inside Green Bay's 35-yard line. Now they'll come back and see if there's anything doing. And Barry dances for a couple of yards as we take a look at the numbers from the first half. No surprise here. The Packers have been absolutely dominant in this football game.
Absolutely no surprise. Look at this, 59 to 196. Time of possession +9. You should be ahead by more than 10 points. Detroit 3 plays and out, all except on the 1 4-play drive. That's a long drive. And then the 7-play drive there with the missed field goal.
Herman Moore, 1 catch in the first half, comes in motion. Craig looks down the left side. However, Matthews got it. Gray out of bounds. Only 1 foot in bounds. The official was right there, points to the spot. The spot was at the 8-yard line, and that official was all over it.
He was all over it. I was looking right down at it, Brent, and I thought he got them both down. Too bad. Here's Aubrey Matthews right there. 1 down, 2 down. He got both down, Brent.
You can see better up here than he did right there. Didn't he have the other foot down when he made the catch?
Yes, he did. He had both down. All right.
Nothing to be sorry about. You're right, Coach. You're right on it.
That's all right, Wayne. That doesn't matter. Jesus, for heaven's sakes.
Third down at 9. And now Craig under pressure is buried.
Sean Jones, a great pass rusher, came in here with 99 sacks, and he shows why he has 99 sacks. He just kept coming.
Despite the hold, he kept coming.
Despite the hold. See, with the turf not being slippery, the defensive ends can line up wide and come around and bend inside. maintain their feet
Number
and
75.
keep coming, and that's just what he
Penalties
did.
decline.
Right side of your screen, coming right to the outside. See, bends out fast. He's working around outside. He's on a tight end right there, and he crawls right underneath him. Good job. Rodney Holman was holding him.
And here's Montgomery in to punt. Brooks and Pryor are now back deep. They've been kicking to the side, so they'll use a double return man. And this time, Montgomery powers it on into the end zone.
Out of the end zone.
So Brett Favre will be coming out with his first possession of the second half.
Matthews coming down with the ball right now. 1 foot down right there. One down, the right foot down. Now, we're coming to the other foot. There's the other one. That isn't even close.
And he had possession.
Yeah.
So it is 1st and 10 for the Green Bay Packers coming out from their own 20-yard line. Here's Edgar Bennett sweeping over to the left, and he's tackled by Mike Johnson, number 59. We'll take a look at the possession chart. The only touchdown that we've had in this game was the first drive when Favre and the Packers went 76 yards, 14 plays, and look at the rest of it. They finally kicked a field goal, and that was on the almost second to last series of the first half after Jackie missed his first attempt. Now 12:20 to go here in the third quarter. 10-0. Packers shutting the Lions out. And it'll be Favre.
I dropped it. Morgan dropped that.
Favre pass intended for Morgan. Incomplete. 3rd and 8. Ball remains on the Packer 22.
Mike Holmgren, with his offensive design, doesn't spread a defense from sideline to sideline like you see a lot of other people doing. He keeps them a little more bunched together so he can attack a specific area quickly with 3 receivers, and that's what he was trying to do right there. Got the little hole he wanted. They actually used that running game, a passing game rather, for like a running play. Here they're spreading them out.
And they'll throw a little motion at him. Mickens slides out. He's the motion receiver. Got the ball. And he is out of bounds at the 38-yard line. Terry Mickens, a rookie from Florida A&M.
See, that time he spreads them out, then takes the wide receivers and moves them inside, pushes the defense off, just throws a very short pass, moves the chains. See, high efficiency throwing.
17 yards. Favre playing without his go-to guy, Sterling Sharp, who will not return for the balance of the playoffs.
Ball on the Packer,
Probably
39.
will undergo
First down.
surgery, and we can only wish him the best. They will fuse the 2 vertebrae in the back of his neck. And now Bennett sweeping to the left, turns in beautifully to the 45-yard line, made 6 yards in ABC Sports exclusive coverage of the NFC wildcard game, brought to you by Chrysler and the new Chrysler Cirrus Sports Sedan. Red Dog beer, bold yet smooth, unusually easy to drink. You are your own dog. And Microsoft, the leader in software. Where do you want to go today? 11:15, third quarter. 10-0. Packers shutting the Lions out. 2nd down and 4 after the 6-yard run on a fake. Favre rolling out to the right, steps inside, now bluffs the defense, and he's short of the first down. He's hit at the 49 by Johnson.
See, they did a real good job on that bootleg action of taking the pattern as a crossing pattern. He wanted to throw the tight end right here on the crossing pattern. This guy sits and then comes out late. He's covered. He has to keep the football. Good job of defense, good discipline. The linebacker picks him up there, frees it right there. You see that right there? Spielman's got him locked up. No one to throw to.
Dorsey Levens, who scored the game's only touchdown, checks in. He'll be offset to the right along with Bennett.
He's the big blocking guy. 235 pounds, best blocker in the backfield.
3rd and short. Levens leads the way. Bennett turns inside of him for the first down.
Came off the ball real strong on the right side of the offensive line. Levens did an okay job of kicking out, but the offensive right tackle, Sims, and tight end came off the ball firmly. When you come off the ball this way, knock people back. See, they get up there, they knock the linebacker back. Levens gets his block at the point. You can turn back up inside. And old Eddie West, number 86, true veteran, 31 years old, been playing a long time. He gets a good block at the point.
Now Reggie Cobb checks in, and he and Bennett are split backs. And on first down, Favre's going to throw it again. In trouble, moves to the left. He'll keep it and go out of bounds at the 45-yard line.
See, this is what he would not do last year, will not do very often. He would not just run out of bounds. He's so competitive that he's continually wanting to try to make a play.
One of the Packer blockers down, and one of the Lions assistant coaches took a pretty good wallop on that far side too, didn't he? Tried to make the stop over there. So we'll take a break. It's 10-0 Packers.
Showdown. Joe Montana and the Chiefs battle Dan Marino and the Dolphins. It's the AFC wild card next on ABC.
Here's Big Joe Sims, the offensive tackle that was just injured, number 68. Freeze it right there. Now you'll see he's going to get blocked, or a man's blocked into his right leg, and it's caught in there. Don't believe it's serious. He walked off the field under his own power, but he is lucky.
2nd and 8 for Favre at the Packer attack. Stands in the middle and fires. That's going to be very close to the first down. Chris Spielman making the spot on the receiver, who is one of his tight ends.
Mark Chmura has come on strong this year toward the end of the season. Eddie West has had a bad ankle, who's their starting tight end, and Mark has come on and done a good job. He can also get down the hole, not like a Jackie Harris used to get down the hole, but he can get down the hole.
Now it's 3rd and short. Ball is at the Detroit 37-yard line, so Spielman better get ready. Bennett is the running back. And Bennett will take it outside, and it's going to be real close. I think he may have been short. It was Spielman who came back over to that side to make the play.
He is really something special, this guy. In preparation, he's in the office at 6:30 in the morning studying tapes, works extremely hard. He's upset if somebody else isn't working hard. A real leader on and off the field. Just loves to play the game the way it ought to be played. Top middle of your screen, number 54, working inside out. Keeps his pads there. He stays behind the ball carrier so he cannot cut back on him. Prevents the first down. They're going for it.
Yes, and Levens checks in again. He was not in the backfield. Remember, he's the lead blocker, so he'll lead Bennett this time, and Bennett is stood up. They went to the Levens side. The Lions read it perfectly that when number 25 came on the field, they were going to follow his block with Bennett. They stacked it up, and again, Spielman went to work.
Excellent defense that time. As you used the term, stacked it up. See, they didn't get any movement, Brent, and they couldn't get up there. No cushion. You can't cut back. You can't get outside.
So Detroit takes over on downs. We'll be right back. We go back to the top of the broadcast. We asked Dick Vermeil, how will they replace Sterling Sharpe on the Green Bay side of the ball? He told us, and they have done it fairly well. But we never expected Barry Sanders to be taken out of the Detroit attack like he has been here today. And if the Lions are to climb back in it, you would have to think that number 20 is going to have to step up and start making some plays. Craig is going to throw it on first down, deep down the right side. Moore with one catch, grabs one, and he's down at the 26-yard line.
Great timing. Great timing. Of course, that great 7'2" leaping ability as a high jumper, but he just timed that perfectly. And Evans, Doug Evans, who's covering him, didn't get the same type of leap. Look at that great time. 1 foot in, the other foot in. There he goes. Herman beat him for a touchdown last time. Take a look at the reverse angle, right side of your screen. Look at this young man leap. Wow. Good timing.
Good. Only their 4th first down, and Moore now comes in motion to the left side, and now Barry Sanders stacked up again by the defensive front. It's Sean Jones, who's meant quite a lot to this franchise.
He wants a little applause there.
Now, here's the lowest rushing totals of his career. And you can see we are working on the all-timer right now. Amazing.
Yeah.
But you know, great ones, you never know when it's coming, let me tell you. Second down, 10 yards to go. Craig releases Berry as a receiver. He'll use him now, and he is out of bounds at the 27-yard line, his first catch of this game.
He wanted to throw backside away from the action to the tight end, Ty Hollick, and they had him covered all the way. It was one of those trick plays. It either works or it doesn't. It didn't work. Good defense.
You know what's interesting, if they don't convert here, Jason Hansen is coming out to his trouble spot. But keep in mind that this time they're on the right hash mark. Jason may get a rematch.
Are you trying to psych him out from up here?
No, not me. I love these kickers. Craig and the Lions, though, will attempt to move it. They'll swing the ball to Berry. Sanders one-on-one, and he will not get the job done. Wayne Simmons.
Wayne Simmons, first-round pick a year ago. He was banged up in training camp, missed part of the year. They thought he'd be the starting outside backer. They thought Bryce Pop would play inside. It didn't happen. Bryce Pop moved to the outside. Simmons proves he can play by making a good one right there.
I won't tell you, Coach, because it's the other hash mark. I will make Jason the favorite on this 38-yarder. But this, folks, is the distance that has troubled him. Montgomery, seeing that he's ready, puts it down. He had to get in a hurry. He has got this one, and boy,
that was
that's
a bad
amazing.
hold, too. That was a bad hold.
Well, I'm not so sure the snap was very good. Now, I don't want to blame Montgomery before we see where that center was, but you're right. He had trouble getting it back down.
It was back into his belly. Greg did a good job of getting it down. No, it's a good snap. He just didn't catch it. Took it all the way to his body.
Yeah, you're right.
He just didn't get it down properly. Let it get through his hands.
But he
normally a kicker will miss that.
Loves the right hash mark. Since 38-yard field goal puts Detroit on the board. So even though they've been badly outplayed, they're only one big play out of getting in this one. And one of the upbacks to the 26th, that's Dorsey Levens, number 25, the blocking back. And a reminder that tonight you can bring in the new year on ABC at 8 Eastern. The ABC Family Movie invites your family to a wedding Flintstone style, a Yabba Dabba Doo, followed by the Commish. And stick around for ABC's annual New Year's Rockin' Eve, all tonight on ABC.
Yabba Dabba Doo. You sound like you watch that program.
Oh, no, don't start that with me. Now there's Dave Craig.
Huh? He's coaching. He's coaching. He's going to get the ball to Herman Moore. You watch. That guy has been in this game for so long and so effective. Got to visit with him a little the other day, and he knows what's happening. Look at this. 24-14.
First down. There's a fake now, and Favre throws back to Brooks. That's his third catch of the game inside the 45-yard line with a first down. Ryan McNeil makes the stop, and it's a 20-yard gain, Green Bay.
And that's really tough against those zone coverages because you can cross through those zones, find yourself a little hole, and he snaps it to you. Action going one way, receiver coming the other way. Here he comes, Brooks across. He came in motion to shorten the time that it takes him to get across the field. Spielberg to pick him up. Look at him catch that ball with his hands.
Cobb in motion out of the backfield. Favre is sacked at the 46. That's the first sack by Detroit, and it is Tracy Scroggins who will get credit for that.
Good pressure. He wanted to throw the seam pattern back to his left side. It was there, but he just didn't get the time. It's his turn to throw under pressure. Craig has been doing it. He pumps left, and here comes Prochet, and here comes Scroggins off that left side. Yeah, darn near fumbled it.
2nd and 17 after the 7-yard loss on the sack. Is slotted off to the right. Favre looking in that direction. Got him again and out of bounds.
Man-to-man coverage. Man-to-man coverage, and you see the use of his hands that time, Brent? Real soft hands. Fine young receiver. Not a Sterling Sharp. Sterling Sharp is so strong. Maybe the strongest physical guy, upper body. He weight trains for the linebackers. But this guy has a gift, those real soft hands. There's the guy that has the total package. Looks like blitz coverage. Yeah, they're coming after it.
On 3rd and 9, Favre throws incomplete, and he had Anthony Morgan open.
Kelvin Pritchard, 94, got the pressure on him and knocked him down. But like you said, Anthony Morgan was open. He got the blitz coverage, the man-to-man coverage, no free safety. Exactly what he wanted. Just didn't handle the protection. Offensive line starting to break down here in the 3rd quarter, and there's Mr. Sharp. You know, he adds a lot to a pattern. Just little individual experience things he takes and incorporates in a pattern run against a specific defender that other people can't do.
Hendrick punting for the Packers.
Nice job. He really got it up there.
Gray, fair catch. He'll bluff that one and hope it doesn't go in the end zone, and it is down around the 10-yard line. There's a penalty flag is thrown. Almost threw the penalty flag at where it should be spotted. Instead of, don't they supposed to throw the beanbag when something like that happens? Oh, you know, they're saying personal foul down there. Lane just said, repeated it to the head linesman.
Personal foul on the return team. Number 23 signaled, then blocked. Half the distance to the goal line, first down.
Boy, Mel Gray, you know, he's got all the experience in the world. You would not think a veteran would make that kind of a mistake.
Exactly. Timeout. Looks kind of cheap. But remember, if the punt had bounced the other way, the Packers might have had a chance to down it inside the 5. So the official is forced to make that call.
Just shouldn't call it a personal foul.
I agree.
You know, a light touch, you could call it, you know, but not a personal foul.
Regardless, because of the penalty, the Lions must start inside their own 5-yard line. You're watching from behind Barry Sanders, who has been throttled today. Craig, incomplete, and he expected Perriman to run a sideline pattern.
A little hitch, and he didn't run it. You know what surprises me in studying the tapes, Detroit versus Green Bay, last time they played, Detroit wins. They ran a draw play to the left side that was extremely effective. One of them he broke for 62 yards. They haven't run it today. Why not go back and run what was so super a few weeks ago? That good left-hand side draw play. I bet you they averaged 25 yards a play with Barry last time out.
So Reggie White slips over to that left tackle spot. Craig gets it into Barry's hands, and Barry battles for maybe a 1-yard loss. George Coombs was working on him on that side.
Lomas Brown, one of the finer offensive tackles, doing a good job of pass protection. And this guy is the lightest offensive tackle playing in football, I bet, right now. There he is, 75. Anshan Jones, he sits there firm. He wants to get there. 2 All-Pros battling each other. He weighs 260 pounds. He looks like a tight end. He really does. But he says he's had a knee problem, and it helps him to play a little bit lighter.
3rd down and 11. Craig from his own end zone in trouble, throws back to Holman, and Holman to the 13-yard line, and just short of a first down. The Lions are forced to punt.
Very good tackling by Doug Evans and Corey Harrison, those guys getting in there and preventing that first down. Big play right there. They're going to get the ball back in good field position.
The key to that play is the fact that it gave Montgomery some punting room. He'll now hit this one outside of the end zone.
He has a long of 64. It'd be a good time to get it as long as he gets it up there in hang time.
midfield.
That's not a good one.
Late fair catch signal at the 46-yard line, and a reminder that tomorrow night, bring in 1995 with a special hour of America's Funniest Home Videos, followed by a brand new Lois and Clark. Then the world premiere movie, A Dangerous Affair, all tomorrow night, right here on ABC. Well, the Packers playing with a short field this time, and 2:13 to go. They lead it by a touchdown. The only touchdown we've had in this game is on Green Bay's first drive of the afternoon. Now there's some Packer backers. Yeah.
Yeah, Scott, I didn't think you came to the game.
First and 10. Here's the hand to Bennett. You know, I don't want to get too personal, but my son Scott was getting ready to switch his allegiance from the Cowboys to the Eagles, and I think you just ruined the chance.
You rest. I know he loves to come to the game here because he made that one trip this year to come to the game. And Lions have come back a little bit here in that third quarter. Remember what it was at halftime? They're up to 124 total now.
Second down now for Favre and the Packers.
Audible. He looks to see blitz coverage.
Hit on the release, but he has got Brooks, and Brooks driven out of bounds at the 16. But here, folks, is a quarterback showing you what it's like in the National Football League. Under pressure on a safety blitz from Vinny Blades, Favre hangs in till the last instant, knows that he's going to get buried, and on the release, he picks up Brooks.
Blitz here. Everybody's coming. He's on McNeil to the right, runs a little corner pattern out there. If they get it to him, good audible, good game planning by Sherman Lewis, the offensive coordinator. They don't call many audibles, only when it can help them, and this one's a big one that helps them. Nicely thrown right on the money. Almost lost it.
Now, Brett Favre had trouble with a shoelace, and the Packers have called a timeout as the result of it. He was trying to tie the shoe, get up to the huddle, and he saw that the clock had run down too far, and he used up a timeout.
You know, in talking to Steve Mariucci, the quarterback coach of Brett Favre, that, you know, Brett, people will say that he has hot feet. He jumps around too much in the there, and he looks a little bit shaky, but he says that's not the fact at all. He's just so competitive. He's just so competitive that he wants to make the big play all the time. So he's continually fighting to get away from the rush to make the play downfield.
I want to go back to this reception. Brooks had control of this. He
One
did.
down, two
and
down.
now he's losing the
that's
ball.
the reception.
It was almost a fumble as McNeil got back on him, and Brooks was able to cover up the ball going out of bounds. So some good strength by the wide receiver of the Packers that time. And I think in one of those replays, you saw Favre take the shot. It was Blades who was delivering the blow when he hit the quarterback. Hit him so hard he untied his shoe.
Knocked him out of his shoes. That's the way he likes to play football, though, Brett does. He's a son of a gun. He is so much better a player this year than last.
Now the Packers will try to keep this going. They lead it by 7, 10-3. Here is Bennett into the middle of that defense and nothing doing.
Real battle going on over there with Ken Rutgers blocking the defensive end. Rutgers is having his best year, or a very, very good year. Number 75, the big offensive tackle you see to the right corner of your screen. Talked to the coaches about him. They, too, said he had a real good year. Good technique, good, you know, he stayed healthy all year and is blocking well at the point of attack.
What would you think about using down here, Dick?
Well, they like the crossing patterns down here.
Here's Favre, waits for the cross. There, incomplete, and it is dropped by Anthony Morgan. And ladies and gentlemen, when you don't have Sterling Sharp, you do lose a go-to guy. There's no question about it.
He took his eyes off the football. He's all ready to run. Plus, when you're running a crossing pattern, a shallow cross, you're in front of linebackers. So you're thinking about getting that ball caught. Here he is coming underneath. See it zone. They turn him loose. He's underneath. Concentrate on his head.
See that? See that head turn? See, he's got to look that thing all the way in and get it tucked away. And Morgan, look, he's there.
Third down. Two receivers are to the left. And Favre coming over to the right side. Can't get anybody free on this side. He's out of the pocket. That's not intentionally grounded. Doesn't matter that Bennett was tied up defensively. And now Favre is getting into it.
That's not smart. That's not smart.
That's Broderick Thomas and Brett Favre.
And Edgar Bennett's involved in it too. Guys, back away. Nobody can afford to get thrown out of a football game.
Now keep in mind that the officials in the league have talked about, remember that fight down in Atlanta involving Deion Sanders and Andre Rison? They think both of them should have been thrown out of the game. So these guys better avoid standing toe-to-toe. And I guess the question I would have is, why was Favre upset with Thomas? Did he hit him late?
I don't know, but Mike Holmgren, the head coach, was upset too coming off the sideline. He was upset about something.
Now let's watch.
There's the down the ball. Oh yeah, that is late. This is Broderick Thomas right there, and then Favre comes up to talk to him there about it. He says, you know, I don't like that. Take that.
Well, we said earlier today that Brett Favre played this game like a linebacker, and that was the reaction of a linebacker. There are very few quarterbacks who will come up behind a linebacker, push him, grab him by the face mask, and say, don't do that again, pal.
Well, in the referee's meeting, the officials meeting last night, we specifically asked about that. You're allowed one step. He took more than one step when he shoved him.
Chris Jackie with a 32-yarder nails his second field goal.
We still got some people that want to fight.
And there are a couple of Packers surrounded down there around the 15-yard line. And now several of their teammates run back out. Well, it's playoff time. And suddenly the passions are starting to bubble just a little bit. Green Bay leads it by 10, 13-3, 11 seconds to go. I wonder if the Lions are frustrated at how their superstar, Barry Sanders, has been stopped.
Well, I still can't believe they haven't run the best play they ran against them last time, the draw plays, because he can find daylight on a draw play. Yes, you've got to hold 1 point or maybe 2 points, but if you get people upfield, then he can break up underneath them. Mike Holmgren was upset. I saw him come off the sideline right away on that play. That's why I thought there was something going on down there. But I'll tell you this, you can take a guy like Sanders and have him hold him in tow for 3/4, and then all of a sudden, out he comes. And then that fires up everybody else, offensive linemen, everybody. But the defense has actually played good enough to keep it.
Now, watch as Favre releases, and Broderick, as Dick told you, taking one more step, and then with meaning pushed him down, and that's why Favre objected to the way he was handled. He first looked to see if the penalty flag had been thrown by Lane, and it had not. Of course, if Lane was a quarterback at Missouri, he used to run the option all the time. He used to get hit all the time.
Here's Broderick.
He's a strutter.
Yeah.
Now,
there's Mr. Dangerous.
Mr. Mel Gray back there. See what he can do now to light a fire.
Well, he's done it 6 times. He's returned it the distance, Brett. Not many people have done it that many times.
Short and high to the right from the 14-yard line. Slips on that first step. Now he's got an alley. Now he can explode to the right. He's across midfield. Jackie to beat. He'll get around him. And now he is finally forced out of bounds by Tim Houck. The young man from Montana gets over and saves a touchdown. A 68-yard return by Mel Gray. As the third quarter comes to an end, watch Gray, a little misstep, and now it opens up on the right side. And 24, Houck, you will see him in pursuit. He eventually is going to get over behind Jackie and get him out of bounds. Back with the final 15 minutes after a word from our ABC stations. Take it, Mr. Vermeil.
Nobody does it any better. That slip actually helps get the timing off in the coverage, and he just breaks upfield, and off he goes. Little subtle moves, and he continues to go upfield. Nobody does it any better.
And now the Lions will attempt to cash in on that return. The ball inside the 20-yard line. We start the fourth quarter, 13-3. Packers with the lead. Craig's been throwing on first down. This time they come back with Sanders on a run. Sanders breaks it outside, ad-libs, and he's thrown out of bounds at the 16 by Leroy Butler.
Boy, it looked like he was almost going to have the Sanders breakout play that time, but the defense kept coming. They didn't come to balance and wait. They kept coming all the way to the line of scrimmage, all the way to the sideline. And what Fritz Shermer told me about the sideline, they're ignoring the sideline. They are not using it as a tackler. They're not counting the sideline as a 12th man. They say, we have to have somebody wider than him regardless of the sideline.
Now it's second down for the Lions.
They've got to get the ball to Herman Moore.
They press the receivers, and Craig throws incomplete. Perriman looking for interference from Buckley. Not going to get the call, and he is outraged about that.
Well, they used Herman as a decoy, running a little delay pattern underneath, and tried to run the quarter pattern in behind him to Perriman. That's good design offensively, but good coverage by Terrell Buckley.
The Lions do not want to make a big mistake right here.
Here's the throw. You'll see it. A tight coverage to the left side of your screen. Good coverage right there. Yeah, you can't call that pass interference.
Now it's Craig. Gets one-on-one more, and Moore's got it. Touchdown, Detroit.
They have to get the ball to Herman. Flag down.
Two of them. Personal foul.
They were doubling Reggie White on that play, too. Look at Wayne Fonts. I cannot believe it.
Now let's wait for Lane to sort this out. The personal foul was indicated.
Holding.
Holding, offense, number 66. Personal foul, roughing the passer, blow to the head, number 99 on the defense. Penalties offset, replay the down, third down.
Say this, they better cover Herman Moore again, because they can't cover him by themselves.
Well, take a look now at roughing on Craig, and this is Davey.
Yeah, that's not smart football. Here he is, a four-time academic All-American in college, making a dumb move.
3rd and 7, and Moore comes back out to the right side, and this time they get Evans over on him.
They've got to roll the coverage to him. They better not double or go single on him.
Off the fake, Craig looks back. He's got Holman. Holman inside the 5-yard line for a 1st and goal.
Excellent call by Dave Levy. See, they got the two wide receivers out there. They double them up, short and long, tight coverage. They go to the inside receiver there. Reggie White coming, just driving the offensive lineman back in there. He flushes him, but David Craig maintains concentration and comes up with a big play. Nice job by David Craig. No substitute for experience, thrown to experience.
And here's a development for you as Barry Sanders stays in with the ball 1st and goal inside the 5-yard line. Frequently, as Lion fans are well aware, they'll change that package. Craig's going to throw out of that formation incomplete.
You know, the funny thing is, not the funny thing, but on that last play to Rodney Holman, Herman Moore had him beat over on the corner the other way. He is really a special receiver. I can't understand why he's not in the Pro Bowl.
They were looking for Anthony Carter over there on Buckley. They thought they could beat Buckley with Anthony Carter. It's interesting, those two hooked up down in Orlando this summer in a skills contest, and there they are again.
Green Bay's having a hard time getting their coverage call right. They're coming with a blitz.
Looking there again, and they cross over, and this time they've got the touchdown, and they get it into the hands of Brett Perriman. And now there's trouble over there on the far side. Now the flags are going to come down. George Teague was the defensive back. And he seems to be saying right now, if you want more of me, let's go. And that's not the thing to be saying right now.
Wide receiver on a safety. The wide receiver should be able to beat him. I wonder if they're calling the fact that he spiked the ball right by the defender. Tight one-on-one bump and run coverage, inside slot man breaking to the corner.
Number 80 on the offense. 15 yards will be on the kickoff.
Now we'll stay with it because they're where it is. You see, Teague was down, and Perriman spikes the ball at his feet and then barks at him, and this is why the flag was thrown. So the touchdown counts. That's the important thing for Lion fans right now to note. There's no question about that. It's going to be assessed on the kickoff, and that's important on that kickoff. Now with Hansen, this extra point would pull the Lions to within 3. So the second half, we've had a little more flavor, haven't we, folks? And they're saying, just calm down, just play the game. A lot of time left. The meaning of the Perriman foul. Jason Hansen is putting the ball down on the Lions' 15-yard line. This means that Green Bay could wind up playing with half a field right now.
Brent, my experience in this kind of a kickoff situation as a coach, normally for some reason the return team gets a better return than they normally get. The coverage team does not do as good a coverage job.
Now there are Jordan and Harris, Dick, and they're standing at the 20-yard line.
Talk about shortening the field.
That could not have come at a worse time for Detroit. They had pulled to within 3 after the extra point was kicked after the foul, of course. But now let's see what happens.
That's a good high kick. That has good high count.
Harris from the 30-yard line. Harris to the 47-yard line. And going again.
That's stupid. Get back on the bench and play football. Going back to that touchdown play, a delay to the outside to shorten the field, bring the defender in. Here we've got a one-on-one situation. Wide receiver on safety. They're blitzing people, so there's no help. Isolation, one-on-one. Sticks him to the inside, throws it to the outside. Perfect throw. He makes a dumb move right here. He gets up. He's going to be a little bit of a hot dog. He's going to throw the ball down right at him, say, I beat you. Dumb play.
So Perriman now, even though he made a fabulous catch on the ball, has given the Packers, has helped give them good field position, and they hit with the slant right away to Brooks. And let's go down now to Leslie for a report on the incidents down on the field. Leslie?
Brent, emotions are really running high down here. Wayne Fontes was complaining to the officials, saying that this type of thing has been going on the Packers side of the bench, and why haven't they noticed that? It took a couple players to calm Perriman down. We'll see what happens, Brent.
All right, Leslie, and the first play of the game gives Green Bay, or I should say of this series, gives them a first down inside Detroit's 40-yard line now. Favre and the Packers on the move again. Aided to a great extent by that 15-yard penalty. Favre getting good time and incomplete. Cobb, the intended receiver.
Actually threw that ball a little bit too hard. If you throw that a little softer, the running back can adjust to that football. That one thrown like that, only one place to catch it. He didn't make the play. You know, I've been impressed. Every time I look up, I see that Robert Porcher. Here's what I'm talking about. This ball coming right. He really, look at how hard he throws that thing. That thing is really zipping. Well, he should make the catch, yes. But if he takes just a little off of that, then the running back can adjust to it.
He's throwing for 222 yards here today. Now it's second down and 10, and they'll come back with Bennett. Bennett slams inside the 35-yard line. There is no question that Edgar Bennett is the #1 running back in Green Bay. I would guess that you could look for Reggie Cobb with his salary to be hitting the highway, and Mr. Bennett is going to get himself a nice raise for night. Wouldn't that be nice? Deserves some cash. He's a good player.
Yeah. Yeah, what are you, his agent?
Well,
getting a cut or what?
You know,
they make about 5%, don't they, those guys? Looks like blitz. Oh, they backed out. They bluffed it.
Now Favre stands up tall and complete. Matt Bennett
throws the difficult ball real well and misses the easy throw right there. He's mad at himself. He's mad at himself right there. Though you have to give some credit to the defensive end. It had a good outside rush right there and didn't give him a clean throwing lane to throw at. Look at, he's upset. Here's a guy that missed practice yesterday, and he never does because he ended up in the hospital, what, the night before?
Well, we want to talk about that because that's one of our storylines from earlier in the day. That injured stomach is a result of a horrendous automobile accident that Brett Favre was involved in while he was still in college. That was back in 1990, if I recall. And every now and then there's excruciating pain, and that caused him to miss practice yesterday. And now,
nice job.
Hendrick hangs one high, and it's into the end zone. He could have batted it back had he left the ground. Remember that rule, unlike those in college football. We'll be right back. Lions have been more productive here in the second half. No question about that. But they still trail it by 3, 13-10. 11:50 to go in the final quarter, and now you see Reggie, he camouflages his spot until the last moment. Then he sets down. The Lions and the coaching staff cannot get a read. Now Craig, knowing where he's set up, makes the call up at the line of scrimmage. Number 92 has been a thorn in their side all game long. They'll try Barry Sanders. He slips the first tackle, and then he slips himself.
Excellent defense by Don Davey, the defensive left end. Awfully good job. He maintained his leverage with his offensive tackle, worked inside out, upfield, and kept pushing Barry to the outside. Linebacker was there. Nice job by Don Davey. That's the way to play that position.
Fewest yards rushing in the playoffs. The Lions with Barry Sanders being held to -9. He's carried 11 times for -5 today. The only number that's important will be his next carry. And now Craig fires more right side, and it was well defended by Doug Evans.
Excellent job by Doug Evans. Boy, what a lot of pressure on a corner trying to cover a guy that fast, that big, and that can leap like he can. Boy, that is a lot of pressure. He does a good job. Now, remember, that's the last time he can touch him, ladies and gentlemen. He's got to cover him now. He does a nice job on that. Excellent technique and good coaching by his secondary coach, Dick Duran.
Third down. Craig needs 12 yards. Penalty flag is thrown by the umpire, and the play is whistled dead.
Too much time?
Before the snap, false start, number 82 on the offense. 5-yard penalty, still third down.
Coach Fonz. What a good guy to visit with. Really open guy. You ask him a question about his game plan, he gives it to you. He's not concerned about you running off and telling some big secrets on plays. He's a trustworthy guy and fun to visit with. He's done a good job there, but they're always after his rear end. I mean, he just can't please everybody there. He said, does my locker room seem like a disgruntled locker room? I said, no, I think the morale seems great inside. He said, the rumor around town is we're all unhappy.
3rd and 18 for Craig and the Lions. In trouble, steps away from it, and now goes for Perriman, incomplete, and the Lions are forced to punt with 10:51 to go. Scratch that. Let me change that. That was Barry Sanders, 20 and not 80, coming down the sideline.
Reggie White's drawing a crowd there in pass protection. Here's Reggie White, number 92, coming off right there. Freeze it right there. Here's one guy going to block him right there. Now look at the other guy. Bowles is coming over to help. Now there's 2 guys. Now freeze it. Now there's 3 helmets. They really like that guy. Boy, I'll tell you, you better put 3 guys on him.
And now Brooks, standing at the Green Bay 45-yard line. Montgomery pounds into it from the 42. welcome back to Lambeau Field. At the top of the day, one of the storylines, how well would Brooks replace Sharp? When you look at the raw numbers, you will see that Brooks has done a pretty productive job. He has caught the ball and handled it about as often as Sharp did in their previous 2 meetings. The first one down in Milwaukee and the second one over in Detroit. But if you also consider what Sharp meant to Green Bay in last year's playoff win, and how high scoring the games were with him in the lineup, you'll see that the whole tenor of this game changes without him. And now on 1st and 10, here's the pitch to Bennett. Bennett slashes inside to the 49-yard line. And let's go down to Leslie.
Brent, you were just talking about what a great job Brooks has done. You probably know he broke all of Sterling Sharp's records at South Carolina, where his nickname was the Shoe-In.
Well, I'll tell you this. I was in Detroit when it was announced that Sharp was injured and not going to play, and I'll guarantee you it influenced the defensive coaching staff at Detroit. I'll tell you, they all of a sudden developed smiles on their faces, and you know, it's just a few days away from playoff time.
Second down now for the Packers. Favre rolling hard to the right, throws back for a first down, and that time Morgan hangs on to the ball. It's a 13-yard gain and a first down. I want to go back on that story. I happen to be talking to Max McGee. He works on the radio broadcast. Former great receiver, caught those touchdown passes in Super Bowl I. And Max was saying he thought the rest of these receivers, like Morgan right here, would pick up the slack in the first game when you miss a superstar. He said, I always remember when Paul Hornung wasn't able to play. He said, we always kind of like rally around. We always knew we had to play just a little bit harder. And now that might be happening here today on the part of the Green Bay Packers. Certainly the defense has picked up the slack against Barry Sanders. A low-scoring game, and now Favre snaps one, and again there's Brooks. And inside the 30.
He audibled to that. He saw what he thought was going to be a quarter 4-deep defense, so he just audibled and threw the quick hitch.
Now there is Sterling Sharp, and in the playoff a year ago, 5 catches for better than 100 yards and those 3 touchdowns, including the game winner. So what happened when you lose the superstar is the Packer coaches said, look, we've got to keep the clock running. We've got to keep the ball out of Barry Sanders' hands. It's better if we play him in a low-scoring game. That has certainly happened here today. With 8:30 to go, it's 13-10. Now Favre, short pass for the first down. He's got Morgan.
See, he's audibling to that, Brent. Detroit has been playing a lot of rolled-up double coverage. Roll the corners up, safeties deep. Now they're backing the corners off, so he is going ahead and audibling to that play and just taking what they gave him out there. I'll show you what I'm talking about right here. See, normally the corner is line here and the safety's here. Now the corner's backed off, so they're just running a little quick hitch. They don't like to play a lot of this coverage. This is one of the reasons. They feel they're not that strong at the corner position. By rolling the corners up and backing them up with the safeties, they feel stronger.
Now the Packers inside the 20-yard line have a first down at the 17-yard line. And this is Reggie Cobb, and Cobb's going nowhere.
The old lag draw play, a good play by Kelvin Pritchett. I've been impressed with the defensive line, Brent. Those guys have played well. Robert Forshea and those guys, Spindler and they've done their part. They really have. They've done a good, and especially number 91. I see why they say he's their best defensive lineman.
Well, you know, it's interesting that everybody, including you, told me how effective the screen pass was for the Green Bay Packers. It's been virtually non-existent. Spielman blew up that one in the first half, and they really haven't gone back to it. It hasn't been there, has it? Second down now.
It has not been there, but you may see it soon.
12 yards to go. Favre snaps one to Shimura, and he's inside the 15-yard line where Chris Spielman has the coverage on the tight end. And, of course, a reminder that when we finish, we'll be going back to John Saunders in New York. He's with Boomer Esiason, and they'll set the table for the next one. Kansas City and Joe Montana against Miami and Dan Marino. I'm going to tell you what's going to be tough in that game, folks. It's going to be tough for Miami to beat Kansas City twice in a short time frame. I don't care who it is in the NFL, coaches, players, you got your hands full if you've got to come back against the same team that you've beaten in a short time frame. That is not easy in this league. 6:26 to go now. Favre dumps Bennett, and Bennett is smacked at the 11-yard line by Johnson.
See, he expected the zone. He wanted to dump it underneath to the running back in the zone. They read it quickly and just jumped on it and swallowed it. No gain. Good job that time by Michael Johnson. A lot of experience at that linebacker position. Excellent, excellent football coach on that screen right there. Great demeanor about him. Real good rapport with the players. He can get really whizzed at him and then be telling them a joke about 5 minutes later. You know,
I love it when you talk dirty to me, Coach.
But you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
He can be on some guy's rear end and chew him up, and then 2 minutes later he's smiling. You know?
45. And here's Jackie. He's going to attempt the 28-yarder. It's good. And the Lions are not necessarily agreeing with the officials down there in the end zone on that call. Spielman is still looking back at the upright and saying, man, that was outside. Take a close look here.
From this angle. It's right.
I love you guys.
I'll tell you.
I love you guys with those lines.
This might be a little better angle.
Don Chandler.
Freeze it right there.
It's on the way.
It's not. It's there. It's good.
Spielman better go get those eyes checked. Those extra lines were, you know, we've got 5:35 to go. And, Dick, if I could be serious for just a moment.
Oh, really? That'll be a change.
That's what I
I've
figured.
been with you all year. I've been serious once.
You know, I'm going to miss you. No, not seriously. I want to ask you, is there anything new? I know a lot of NFL fans, especially good folks back in Philadelphia, are wondering about your circumstance, what you're going to tell the new owner of the Eagles, and where's your mind right now?
Well, Brent, my mind is right here in this booth, number one. But number two, I haven't talked to Jeffrey since our meeting a week ago. We had 2 3-hour meetings. I really enjoyed it. I went into the first meeting without an interest, developed an interest. Impressive guy. Says what he has in his mind. I liked what he said. I think he's going to be a heck of an owner. He didn't offer me the football coaching job there. He asked me if I'd be interested and consider it. He's going to talk to other people. And that's where it is right now.
Well, there's a short kickoff. Along the lines, break it with Eric Lynch.
But getting back to Jeffrey Lurie, regardless of who coaches the football team, I think the guy's going to be coaching for the right kind of guy. He wants to put football people in football responsible positions and let them do the job, and then learn as he goes.
Dick, I'm not available as an offensive coordinator.
Well, that is. I know some things you could be in charge of and do a good job.
First down. The ball is just across midfield. Here we go now. 5:27 and Herman Moore is lined up against Evans for 5:27. Craig fake to Barry Sanders. Now he drops it off. Using his fullback and his tight end, trying to bring the ball down the field with Ty Halleck that time. A 15-yard gain.
We talk about improvision. What a great job.
Now, Alabama, Ohio State will be in the Comp USA Florida Citrus Bowl on ABC. Monday live, 1 Eastern. And then Keith Jackson, Bob Creasy will be at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. Penn State playing Oregon. Dick, you and I will be down in New Orleans, the USF&G Insurance Sugar Bowl, overtime. Florida State and Florida. 4:45, 16-10. Packers lead it by 2 field goals. Here's Sanders. It may have been the longest run of the game, and Davey and Butler are all over him.
Good discipline, part of the defense. The defensive coaching staff at Green Bay has done an excellent job of the principles they're teaching to try to stop that running game. They haven't changed their defensive fronts. Yes, they've moved the key guy around, moved him over on the defensive right side because that's where they like to run. And he's changed. There's Fritz Shermer right now. A lot of experience, fine coach. He's been around the league, very much respected by his peers.
Second down. .357.
Flea flicker.
And got it. Underneath, he is forced to throw because of the pressure. He picked up Perriman, but he had the deep man.
He had the deep man. Really, if that would have been executed within rhythm, Herman, man, a little block and go. He had it. They hand the ball off. Right there. Now he starts up inside. He peels back, flips it, but see, the protection breaks down like it does many times in those type of plays, and he couldn't go deep. But Herman had it. Herman went down, bluffed the block, and released into the pattern. He was open.
Now, Dick, it is 3rd and 4. The Lions with 2 downs to pick up the 4 yards. They take 1 and get it done. Johnson, the tight end, also from Florida State, picks up the 1st down for Detroit.
Here's Holman. They get them all bunched up. A man coming in motion. They have Holman right here and just running right out here in the flat for the 4 yards. Not trying to get 50, not trying to get 20, trying to pick if it's a man, it's not man, but he makes the play. They don't get the pick, but they get the play.
So Johnny Morton, let me correct that. It was Johnny Morton who returned that kickoff for a touchdown against Miami, making that big 1st down play for the Lions. End zone Moore, and the pass hung a bit, allowing Evans to get round and make the play.
They're very, very high on Doug Evans. Very high on his ability. Said he's going to be a fine player there down the road. He's only been around a couple years. You can see he's working against one of the great players in the National Football League, and he does a good job of fighting back in, getting his left hand in there and knocking it away.
3:04 to go.
There's Mr. Evans right there. There's Mr. Herman. There's a real good matchup right there.
2nd down and 10. Matthews, 83. Craig wants him. Incomplete. Matthews complaining that he was pushed out of the pattern.
He definitely went out of bounds. Can't come back in and catch it. I still don't understand why they haven't run him on a draw play. I just don't understand that. Here they are. That's Dave Levy right there. Tom Moore, the quarterback coach. And there's a guy playing.
3rd down and 10 for the Lions. Just inside of 3 minutes. Trailing it by 6. Matthews to the 14-yard line. Going to be close.
See, they get in that tight bunch formation, and then they just flush from there. He comes back underneath it, gets him stretched out of there in that zone. They drop him the football. High efficiency passing. Good design by the offensive coaches.
Well, bring the chains out and measure it. At the 2:38 mark and trailing by 6, you know that the Lions know they've got to have the touchdown. The Packers would simply, if they kicked a field goal right here.
Timeout. They're calling timeout right now.
So their season comes down to 1, and we'll remind you that ABC Sports coverage of the NFC Wildcard Playoff game is brought to you by Pontiac and your local Pontiac dealer. We are driving excitement. By Home Box Office. By Baked Tostitos. You got Tostitos, you got a party. And the IBM Corporation. 2 minutes and 38 seconds to go, Dick.
You know, you made a comment a couple times in the first half about, you know, they're still in this ball game, and Green Bay is dominating, and look at all this. You know, there could be trouble. It could be, and right now they're in big trouble. They allowed them to stay in the football game when they were dominating. You know, now right now, one play and they're behind.
But it's amazing how Wayne Fonts and the Lion coaching staff have to feel now that the season's coming down here. to one play. They've got to have the first down on this fourth down.
One time I was working as an offensive coordinator for Tommy Crozo, and I called the plays, and he said, whenever you're in a critical situation, don't worry about the play you call. Just give it to your best football player. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Would you give it to Barry Sanders?
Well, he's not a great short yard running back because he breaks away from point of attack so many times. But they have him in the backfield now. I think I'd give it to him.
See what the Lions elect to do on fourth down. Craig keeps it. Craig goes for it himself. That in itself is a tribute to the Green Bay defense. They did not want to hand the ball to number 20. That's how much he's been dominated here this afternoon. And Craig, on a quarterback sneak, appears to have gotten the first down.
David Craig has never been given credit for how good a football player he is. Kansas City Chiefs wanted to sign him to 2 years. He didn't want to sign 2 years. That's why he went to Detroit.
You know what's interesting here, Dick, is that in their first meeting, when Scott Mitchell was injured and Craig took over and stepped up the tempo, I remember late in that game in County Stadium that on a fourth down play, Craig threw an incompletion in the end zone. And now here he is in the playoffs. 2.5 minutes. We're moved up to the north to Green Bay. And Craig has got a chance to pay this one off. This is 1st and 10. The ball is at the Packers' 14-yard line. Matthews turns back 3 wide receivers are to the left. And Craig will look off in that side, come back to the middle, and throw it incomplete. He threw it away.
They tried that same bunch formation, and it just flushed out of there. They couldn't get it. Good decision just to throw the ball away. Here's what I'm talking about. All bunched up there. They end up with 3 receivers, and then they just flush, just like this. And excuse my poor drawing like that. But see, he wants to throw it to him, and it's not there. He's got a defender right here on him. No place to go. He throws it out of the back of the end zone.
They're going to package the receivers the same way unless they bring Matthews in motion. Now they do bring him down. And he'll turn back. Gives him an overload on the left-hand side. And they'll run Barry Sanders. Sanders looking for daylight is stopped at the 11-yard line. Evans hanging on.
That was the draw play. But Don Davey, 99, got his foot as he got up in there. He had the draw. If he didn't stumble. Real good job by Don Davey, number 99. Left side of your screen. He grabs his foot right there. See, he just tripped him up just enough to break up the play.
The 2-minute warning. We'll be right back. This game, let's start with Barry Sanders. With 2 minutes to go, the league's leading rusher, one of the greatest years ever in the NFL. He has now carried 13 times for no yards. That's right, 0 yards. And yet here we are. Barry Sanders could still wind up being the hero. The Lions could pull this one out. And how big is it now that Jason Hansen missed a field goal back in the first half? The Lions would be trailing by only 3 right now. On the Packer side of the story defensively, there stands for Mike Holmgren, number 92, Reggie White down there in the middle of that defense, wanting to make one more big play. We're coming up now with a huge 3rd down and 7 for Dave Craig, the survivor, and the Detroit Lions.
They're probably going to try to get the ball to Herman Moore. They can make the first down without scoring, too, Brent. Remember that.
Craig looking Moore's direction. He's covered, and Craig is sacked at the 17. Bryce Pop.
The ultimate overachiever is how the coaches describe Bryce Pop. Not the most talented, but one of the big givers on this football team. Plays linebacker, and in the nickel, he rushes as a defensive end. Very versatile guy, coming tough to the outside. 95 does a stunt, freeze it right there. See, he started outside, came back underneath. They had a cross charge. They didn't pick it up properly, and here he comes up in there clean. Good effort, good movement, gets after it. Big, big play.
And now the Lions use a timeout.
Here's what the quarterback's looking at as he gets back there. He's looking downfield, see to his left, the rush is coming. He can't see it to avoid it. Now he sees it. Too late. Too late. Barry Sanders tried to help him pick it up inside there, Brent, but he didn't see it quick enough. Good defensive stunt, cross charge. Used to call that a Rex.
Craig and the Lions have come to 4th down. Meanwhile, Reggie White and Bryce Pop getting ready for what could turn out to be their last big play of the season, or if they hold up, they'll move on down the road. Doesn't get any bigger than this for a defense. 4th and 13 right now. The Lions can get a first down inside the 4 at about the 3. Craig has Moore over to the right, matched against Evans. Craig with a quick drop, throws to the Moore, jumps in the air, he's out of the end zone. Out of the end zone and incomplete. The Packers take over.
Well, they went to the right guy.
What the Lions are thinking right now is that Herman Moore was pushed out of the back of the end zone. The Lions are insisting that this should have been a legal catch. You take a look at it now on the replay. Moore is coming right to left, right over the middle. He's got it. Teague is wrapped up with him in the air.
That's a good call.
And he's out of bounds.
That's
and
a good
I
call.
would agree with you, Dick.
Yeah, it's a good call.
There it is, 1 foot.
He would have come down out of bounds with nobody on him, with no pressure on him, no push, no hit. He'd have come down out of bounds.
Now the storyline is Brett Favre and the Green Bay offense. They hand to Bennett. All they have to do now is just hang on to the ball. The Lions are down to 1 timeout remaining. Let's check this from a reverse angle.
Ball coming down. There's left side of your screen. See, now he's got possession of the ball. He's coming down. See, he would have come down out of bounds. The defender did not force him out. But I'll tell you this, Herb Patera and his defensive staff have done an outstanding job today. Right at you, ladies and gentlemen. Fine football player going up there. Look at him leap.
Now on the other side, we want to switch back to the Brett Favre story. Because here's a young quarterback, and there were some doubters about him. He threw too many interceptions when his career started. He's come back this year to throw 33 touchdown passes. Yesterday, because of serious stomach pain, he passed up the last practice. He has played this game without his security blanket, Sterling Sharp. He has played it with his usual determination and vigor. It has been a struggle. The Packers scored on their first drive of the game, and then they have been handled fairly well in this game. They lead in yardage, but they didn't get the ball into the end zone like they wanted to, as the Lion defense has come after them here today.
But nobody would believe that this game would be this close if Barry Sanders had no yards rushing. Nobody would believe that would be close. I don't believe the man we just saw there, the coach, Mike Hogan, believe it, and I don't think Barry would believe it. Great, great football player. You know, the term great is used too many times in the National Football League because they're all darn good players. But look at this, ladies and gentlemen. 13 carries, no yards. Give Fred Shermer and his defensive coaching staff a tremendous coaching job.
50-some seconds, and Bennett. Now, for Barry Sanders, that is his lowest total ever rushing since he joined the Detroit Lions. And he is coming off a season in which, remember, a week ago, everybody was talking about, will he be the next 2,000-yard runner? The Dolphins kept him away from that goal. Then he came in against a team in which he rushed for better than 180 yards the last time he played them. The weather came up for Barry Sanders. A dry track, sunshine, no rain, and yet he has been held to his lowest total ever. The Green Bay Packers are 7 seconds away from moving on to their next game. And remember, they got that far a year ago, and they were beaten by the Dallas Cowboys. Without Sterling Sharp, it gets tougher and tougher with each passing week for this team.
And without a better running attack, they have to be able to run the football better than they ran the ball today. But you've got to give credit to Herb Patera and his defensive coaching staff. The Detroit people did it. Both defensive staffs did real good jobs today.
And there's Sterling Sharp across the way.
Coach Bonds.
A very disappointing ending for the Lions. They were able to pick it up, came through Thanksgiving in good shape, and now they close out. They could have had a home playoff game. They couldn't get the job done down in Miami. Now they come in here, and for the second straight year, they are going to lose again. Well, the Lions will be going all out to block this punt, and now the one thing you've got to wonder, would Hendrick ever turn around, run into the end zone, run out the clock, and step out of bounds?
I think they'll go ahead and punt. There's no guarantees. They're in a tight punt formation.
Well, they better be careful of Mr. Gray back here. He might have one more miracle up his sleeve. Here goes Hendrick into the end zone. Let the clock come down. Now he'll step. Now he's going to go out of bounds and take the safety.
Game's over. They did it.
They were not going to give Gray a chance, and look out down in that corner. Tempers have been flaring in this game. And there's some pushing and shoving.
That's stupid.
And the Lions have to be careful because some of the fans will reach down over the stands. Let's go down to Leslie.
Emotional game, never beaten at home in the playoffs. Mike Holdren, how did you win this game?
I don't know. We had a little bit of luck, and the guys played very hard. I can't say enough about our defense, really. Anytime you play like that against the greatest runner, really, I think, in football, you've had a great game, and they responded at the end.
It was Barry Sanders' worst game of his career. What did you do to stop him?
Well, I don't know. You know, I don't think you ever really stop him. The field didn't help him, I don't think, and then our defense, I just can't give them enough credit. They really played a good football game.
And there is life without Sterling Sharp?
Well, yeah, I feel very, you and I talked earlier, I miss him a lot, and so does the team, but I was proud of Anthony Morgan and Robert Brooks, Mickens, and those guys. They played hard.
Excellent effort all around. On to Dallas or San Francisco. Thank you, Mike. Back to you.
Leslie, I want to make sure that everybody understands the final score. That's what's important here. They took the safety, and it is 16-12. That is the final score of the game now. Green Bay wins it as Hendrick runs out the clock and takes the safety. And a reminder now that the NFL mid-game report is coming up next here on ABC Sports. Coming up next on ABC, it'll be Kansas City and Miami. For Leslie Visser and Dick Vermeil, I'm Brent Musburger. So long from Green Bay.
Welcome to ABC Sports Wild Card Saturday Mid-Game Report. From our studio in New York, your host, John Saunders.
So Green Bay picks up the victory 16-12, knocking off the Lions. I'm joined once again by Boomer Esiason, and the story in this game, Barry Sanders held to 0 yards on 13 carries, the lowest total of his career.
Great defense by the Green Bay Packers. That's why they went out and got Reggie White as a free agent. No mistakes by Brett Favre. Really only one costly error on the part of the Green Bay Packers, and that was a great return by Mel Gray. So this is exactly how you want to win a football game in the playoffs.
In the AFC, we may know what happens after the next game, but in the NFC, we have to wait until tomorrow to find out what happens. If the Vikings beat the Bears tomorrow, the Packers will play at San Francisco on January 7th at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. If Chicago beats Minnesota tomorrow, the Packers will play at Dallas on the 8th at 12:30 Eastern Time. Next on ABC, it's the AFC wildcard game. Kansas City against Miami from Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami. The quarterback matchup, the story, and will Dan Marino make a second trip to the Super Bowl? Dan Marino can hear the ticking of time passing too quickly. his window of opportunity is no longer what it once was.